Oh. Something did not go right there. Anyway, we're live. How you doing, everybody? It's been a little while. Let me get a little more drink here.
All I see is your settings.
Yeah. It's not even open. It's let me see what I can do here. So we press the record button, and tonight, it's been a while since we've recorded anything. It's been a while since we recorded Wurm, but we have been playing Wurm. Yeah, I don't even know how long it's been. I must be really thirsty or something. Are we back? We're kind of back. So we wanted to do today, since it has been a while, we wanted to kind of just ease our way back. So the last, what do you want to call it, Adam? Season?
Sure.
The last season we did, we exclusively did recordings, and we wanted to get back into streaming instead, which we've done in the past. But things are so different now. It's been so many years since we did streaming that I don't really know where to begin. It seemed like programs changed and settings changed, and we're sort of figuring stuff out here. I know it looks like that my settings are up, but they're not. So let's figure
Twitch
this out.
has changed a lot since the last time we streamed on Twitch. Hey, Drakeling. How's it going? Yeah, it's like we come back and, I was watching a bunch of Twitch streams just to get a sense of what was going on out there. And people have all these like cool little borders around their, faces, and all these update tip jars and whatever else they have on their streams. And we had no idea what was going on with all that stuff. So luckily we have Brian here, who's a tech wizard.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's
he's like,
that's
oh,
why
this
I'm
is so
here.
Cool. Yeah. So this stream is going to be us fumbling about, trying to figure out our Twitch.
There we go.
And getting the game up. Oh, there you go.
You can see the game now. You can see what I see. Hello, Deathwind and Drakeling and everybody else that's in the chat. I really should change those settings. So did you want me to...
Is it Pounces?
Pounces. Hey.
How's it going, Pounces? Wurm looks so good now. I'm watching the stream on my second screen. Compared to the last time we were recording, man, Wurm looks amazing now.
For sure. All right, so...
Hey, Magikaru.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we're just kind of fooling around, getting back into things. Streaming for once. Adam's going to have to do some of the talking because I'm going to have to do some of our editing of our scenes. So I haven't quite gotten there yet where I'm set everything up yet. That's what we're doing now. So let's do... So go ahead, Adam. How has Wurm changed?
How has Wurm changed? Since the last time we recorded, it's changed a ton. All for the better, though. Man, it's just looking at the stream, how nice one looks is just amazing. Did you know my favorite update though, since the last time we were recording, is how we can now place items on top of other items. That's my favorite update. I've been going around my deed and just,
placing items on top of other items. Ooh.
I have tons of stuff all over the floor, like all over, just a big mess. And I've just been picking stuff up and putting them onto tables, or, building a new table and putting stuff on top of it. Man, It's just that's my favorite update for sure.
How are these borders looking? Didn't quite.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't know that? That's one of the biggest, like just recent too.
I mean, if people haven't played for a while, let's say since last year, yeah, there's been a lot of changes, visually and feature-wise, I should say.
I found you.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, my mall is up. It's the yearly Wurm stream.
It's the yearly Wurm stream. No, so yeah. It is our first yearly Wurm stream. You are correct.
No, it is not our yearly Wurm stream. We have plans to get back into this whole streaming thing. And so this is our first stream back, but we're definitely going to be doing some more streaming. That's for sure.
Yeah, so we're just using this opportunity to, I don't know, play around with the new streaming tools. I still haven't set everything up properly yet.
Right. Today, this stream is like a completely informal stream. We're just like hanging out, chatting with you guys, and we don't even have anything planned. We have no topics to discuss. We have no project to do. We have a first thing to. We have a couple things to talk about, but nothing like our episodes before.
Yeah, that'll be the next episode. We'll get sort of back into. I guess I don't even know if I want to call them episodes anymore since we're going to be streaming. But they'll be more talkative, I would say. What's everybody been up to? Yeah? Let's start with that. Is everybody still playing Wurm? Everybody maybe Wurm Online? Wurm Unlimited? Did Wurm Unlimited ever get the new features? Like, where are they in the whole scheme of things, of the updates?
I kind of was talking to Valiance a little bit about where Wurm Unlimited is, and people who play Wurm Unlimited always feel like they're way behind in terms of the updates, but I'm pretty sure they got the place items on top of other items update. Everything up to that point they got, which is most everything. There might have been one other update about the renderer, the new lights.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get to some of the bigger updates that's happened in Wurm over the last few months.
Oh my goodness.
Now, and for that we're going to have to show you a bunch of stuff because it's mostly visual, some features. Since this is our first stream, please let us know how our volumes are, because I know I can't hear if Adam is, so much quieter than me or something, but you guys can. And maybe Adam can, because apparently he's also listening to us as he's on the show, which is a little freaky to me.
Not quite. I'm not actually listening to the stream because
you're just watching.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm just watching it on mute because I wouldn't be able to hear our voices at the same time as talking. That would be weird.
All right. So the first thing that I definitely want to show, new renderer. I can't remember if it maybe just came into the game while we during our last episodes, but look at the shadows just here in this tiny little forest, and you can see the new renderer has allowed those shadows to go a further distance and just be more prominent. You can see parts parts of the land in shadows and parts of the land in brightness, and it goes like with all characters too.
What do you mean it goes with all characters?
Like, this dead cave bug is in the shadows, but part of it is in the light. If we sort of go here, look at the horse goes into the shadows, and then the horse goes into the light. Like, it's those things, and maybe, Adam, you can show. See, you look like you're in the shadows.
Okay, I see. And if I move forward...
And if you move forward slowly, you go into the light. Now, it sounds like you're a little quieter. See that?
Okay. I can turn myself up because I had...
What's hitting me?
Just before the stream started, I turned my stuff down. Am I in the
Yeah.
light now?
Yeah. So like this whole side, and it's coming from like one side of you too, which is kind of cool.
Now,
And
if I
then the
remember
front of the
correctly,
horse is in
you
the
do
shadows.
like all of the shadows and the way the light creates those shadows on the ground. That was added just after or just before we stopped recording last. Like that came in as a new feature when we were recording it the last time.
I see. But I feel like they did more now with it. They made it. Remember the whole situation with the lights flickering inside of houses and stuff? The lights would just flicker so much, and it used to be such a bother when you're trying to, let's say, film something for when I was doing the trailers, for example. You have to sort of hide that fact.
If you go onto Steam and look at the Wurm Unlimited trailer that we had made together, Brian had made most of it. There's this one scene where a cart is coming towards the camera, and there's just this flickering going on right at the front of the cart. And every time I see that trailer, that's the only thing I see is that flickering light. And that's just the way
that's
that
it.
was.
There's so much other stuff in that trailer. But yeah, I understand.
That flickering is gone. All of that flickering is gone now. Like that is a huge. That's a huge. Most people probably don't even notice it when they're playing, but
anyway, they got rid of it.
Got rid of it.
It's gone somehow. Just magically, it's so much better. Like lighting in general, so much better, and you can see it at a far distance now. So that's it. Oh, you just started playing Wurm. I'm gonna say your name wrong. Erythrobo, something like that. Totally new to the game. That's crazy.
Right, Erythrobo. I kind of remember I was watching another stream. Was it Catspur? Yesterday I was watching Catspur, and you were mentioning how you had just started on Mystic Highlands. Is that right?
So knowing that, I mean that you just started Erythrobo, what stands out that makes you want to play this game, or that made you want to play this game on
So
Wurm
here's
Unlimited?
the thing, Brian didn't know, but when he was on Catspur's stream, she grilled him in the exact same way that you're grilling him. It's almost like
is that what happened?
It's a Wurmian thing to do. People who play Wurm just are so interested in
personally, just because
other people perceive the
how
game.
many years have we been talking about this subject?
I know.
But to catch someone right in the act is it's just, you can't pass up that opportunity. You know what I mean?
It's definitely special. Yeah, it's definitely special to find a new player.
All right, so I can't quite see it with these tiles, but what they essentially did was they added, if anybody's familiar with the way that video games display textures and depth to those textures, they basically started adding, they call them, what do they say, they're called mappings, or different normal mappings, different kind of mappings. I think there's like 3 or 4, and they added 2 of them or something to Wurm, or 3 of them, something like that, which gave textures or the tiles more texture and made them seem more alive. They haven't added it to everything, so they showed pictures that they're going to add it to buildings, and like those pictures looked amazing, but they haven't quite added, but they did add it to the floor tiles, I believe, at least to some of them.
They mostly added it to the paved tiles, like for example cobblestone.
Yeah, I was trying to go find some cobblestone.
You can see it on things like
This way.
snow tiles. All the snow tiles look amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
added it to was it clay or dirt? I think dirt tiles.
I think
probably
dirt.
Just dig.
They added it to
dig ground.
cobblestone. I've seen it to even the grass. You can see it a little bit. No, maybe not.
But here's the thing: is
I
that
don't see it in
you
grass.
mostly can only see it when it's light out. Like this is one thing that I had a little bit of a gripe with it, and I'm not even sure what the
It's
issue.
because of the way that it works, right?
Right, the way that it works
with
is that
lighting.
it works with the lighting, exactly. As light strikes the object, the normal map causes the light to reflect in different directions depending on.
Yeah. Now think of the
I guess
normal map as just like black and white. So different shades of black and white. And if it's completely black, if a part of the image is completely black, then no light shines on it. Think of it like a shadow. So it treats that part of the picture as a shadow. And then as it gets whiter, it gets more bright. And then what happens is if you kind of place that over an object, and it basically tells the texture where the light should shine on it brightest and where it shouldn't shine on it at all. And then that basically creates that visual depth to our eyes without needing to add more polygons. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it essentially tells the light which direction to reflect.
Now, there's not that much light, and I think what happens is that things look less, less stands out now because the sun is technically like right above us. So the light is shining down, and there's no shadows that's showing here. But you do kind of get a better sense. I mean, this is just regular cobblestone, right? Like, can you remember how cobblestone looked before? It looked so terrible. Flat. It was the worst out of all the cobblestone because it was the oldest one. But now when I look at it, it's probably one of my more favorite ones.
Right. It looks kind of like the stones are... It looks like real stones being put into the road. Like there's like a little bit bump to it.
Mm. Here's the quick version.
Robo says, quick version. I tried the game. I got frustrated. Couldn't figure out the game. This sounds exactly like everybody's rendition of how they got into Wurm.
Yeah, that's what we did.
It sucked. I turned it off and didn't play it for like a year. And then I tried it again. So it was the Mystic Highlands stream. So that must have been Valiant streaming. He was saying on his stream that since he started streaming, he's noticed a bump in his service population, which is great. I think that, streaming is a great way to get the word out about this game because it's a very little known game, very niche game. And most people who try it don't like it. But there are a very select few type of people out there who try this game and just fall in love with it and never turn back.
I love that. You actually started recording with light out. I feel like it's because we started at a slightly different time. It seemed like we kept recording later and later and later. We kept hitting the record button, and every time we did that, it was so dark out by that time.
I don't know, actually. I think that we
the same time every
started
week.
Recording around now. No, I mean like around now is around the time that we normally record.
Normally wanted to start recording around now.
Around now.
When did that ever happen?
Maybe it was 9, but still, like what? It would still. Yeah, I don't know.
The whole thing is like 3 hours long, right? So an hour and a half. The whole cycle of day and night.
The whole day-night cycle is 3 hours.
So an hour and a half is like 12 hours. So if we waited just an hour later than we normally did, like if we started at 9:30, it would probably be getting dark. Yeah. Anyway, so that's not the only thing that happened. What else did they do? They added the ability to place things onto other things.
Right.
So if you haven't played for a little while, that actually did make it into the game. What's the quickest way of showing people that don't know this? So let's go to the front of our place.
You probably have an item in your inventory you can just place onto another.
Yeah, so I'll show you guys. And I think the last stream that we did, they put in that placing ability.
Right.
Or somewhere near the end.
Your horse
is so much faster than mine.
We had just stopped recording and they had just put in the feature that you can place items. So right click and place and put it wherever you like. And later they revealed that was the first step to getting the place items on top of other items.
Let's just say
didn't go in until like a month ago.
Yeah, I'd like to answer this question. Are the bookshelves functional? Yes. Yes, they are.
Yes.
They specifically added a new type of bookshelf that's completely empty of all things so that you can fill it up with whatever you want. I do not have an example of that here, unfortunately. Okay, so here's the front of our labyrinth. So for people that remember, we were building a labyrinth, obviously, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 years. 3 years. 3 years, let's say.
3 years.
And
just there is something about the bookshelves that I want to throw in before we move on to the next thing, and that is, and I still anticipate this to be changed, but people were complaining that bookshelves still fall under the limitation of 15 items per tile. Like, you know how there's a limitation of 15 decorative items per tile?
Yeah.
So if you put a bookshelf and then you put a book on it, that book counts as one decorative item. So you can put at most 15 books on the bookshelf, and that's, or maybe 14, whatever, 14 books. If you have a bookshelf and 14 books on the tile, that's the whole tile. And people are kind of complaining about that because 14 books on the bookshelf kind of looks sparse. I anticipate that they're possibly going to be looking at trying to figure out how to make that more feasible, but my feeling is that the limitation is in fact, if you have like 100 items on the bookshelf, then all of those 100 items have to render, and it might get a little bit slow.
Okay, so for people that want to see on the stream, I'm going to place a rope. So you right click the rope that's in your inventory, go into drop, and now you have the new place item. It goes onto your mouse. So there it is. Any place that's green, it will go. So I can place it on top of this barrel, for example. Can I do chair? I don't think I can do chair. I don't think chair is one of the items, but this is one of them.
Right, that's another thing, is that only certain items can have items placed on them.
Here's one of them. I could place a rope onto an oven if I wanted to. But let's do a table.
Fireplace. But they did. Yeah, you can put it on. They did add extra items that you could place items on top of. So like the first round of release, it was like you could put them onto tables and a couple other items. And then they did another release where they added 20 more items that you can place on top of. So it's very possible that they'll continue to add more items that you can place on top of other items.
I feel like that's their plan. So we talked about how we would want a system like this implemented in the past, and we basically said, place the item, like right click the item, press place, something like that. Put it on your mouse cursor, be able to move it around, because this is how I remember it in another game that I played called Vanguard a long time ago. And then the mouse wheel could, spin it around. So here's the mouse wheel spinning the item around. If you hold down control, it spins it around and moves it on more of a grid. So look at that grid instead of just free. If you hold, is there another button? Alt, it's a different grid. So one of the grids is wider than the others. Let's see. So control looks like the smaller grid. Alt looks like the slightly larger grid. Right, and it also, so that's kind of cool if you're trying to line up stuff. Looks like I just timed out here. So let's go awesome. Place, and let's just place this right here.
And the mouse wheel rotates the item, which is just beautiful.
Let's do that. And since everything in this game basically has a graphic these days, you see less and less of the bags, right? Like it used to just be represented as a question mark bag. I missed that question mark bag. There must be at least some items like that still. So here's a log even. Like I've got a giant log in my inventory.
There might be one or two.
Oh, there's no room for the giant log on the table, unfortunately. But
is that right?
I can place it somewhere else. So like here, there's a nice log.
Is it because logs don't fit onto tables? Like it's too big?
I don't know. Let's see if I can put it on this here. No room for the log. Maybe they have some kind of calculation that stops larger items, because this log is quite large.
Right, too big.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm carrying around a 20-pound maple log in my inventory. Let's not. Let's just discard that. All right, I was gonna place down, like, I've got a nail. I don't know. I start to place some nails. Oh, there we go. There's a bunch of nails on this table. Anyway, so yeah, it's basically our dream, placing items on other items.
I know.
Obviously, we're still
Hey,
missing.
mental aggression. How are you?
Yeah, how are you doing?
So
And
I
what-
noticed that it like, as I said, this stream that we're doing right now is like completely informal. We're just sort of like getting back into things, and we want to get our stream like working pretty good. One thing I'm noticing is that the chat that comes up onto the stream is disappearing quickly.
Right. You don't
and
like
this is
that.
one thing that this is kind of one thing that we were discussing earlier, that we wanted sort of persistent chat on the screen.
Okay, so I changed the setting. I have no idea how long that. Oh wow. Okay. Is that better?
I don't know. Oh, there it is. Is there any way to make it smaller?
Thank
Or
you for
maybe the
following us.
The font's oh yeah, there you go. You're doing something to make it smaller.
Do you want me to make the whole thing smaller like this? How's that?
That yeah.
Is that too small? I was trying to make it wider, but I guess there's no wideness
wider?
option. Let me see. There is a wideness option. Let's do that. Now it completely made it disappear. You want to say let's say something in the chat, see if it's still there. Why is it over there?
You know, one thing that I've noticed about Twitch since the last time we streamed is that there was much less of a delay. Like, there's still a delay. There's still a delay, but there is
I think that's
much,
built into
much
it.
less of a
Like
delay.
OBS gives us a delay. Do you want to remove the delay? I could probably remove it.
Really? Like, you can actually lower the delay?
Yeah, I feel like it's by design.
Okay.
Just in case
don't-
we say a swear word or something. I don't know. We are doing great now that we're back setting up our stream. Wow, you were watching our videos from a year and a half ago. What were we doing a year and a half ago?
Nice. Yeah, that's probably before
Building the
even last
Labyrinth.
season.
So how does it look now, the chat? It looks different to me. I think they put the names on the left, or was it doing that already? I don't remember.
I think it was still
Yeah, we were building out the maze. Good news, and I know we kind of announced it before, but like 100% it's done. Not even a little bit is left. So is it open yet? Has it been open? Because it's been done for a little while now. No, it's not open quite yet. And there's a reason for that. And I don't know if we want to get into that.
Well, I think we do kind of want to get into that.
Okay, we do want to get into that, apparently. And
well, I don't think that I think that this stream is a perfect time to announce everything that. But before that, I think that it's not completely. I mean, it's done in the sense that it's done, but even today you were doing new things to it, like you were tweaking it here and tweaking it there.
well, yeah.
You're like one of these obsessive people who are like, okay, it's done. Wait a minute, let me just fix it. Okay, now it's done. No, wait.
I
wait a
added
minute,
so
wait a
much
minute.
polish. I think in the very last episode we said that it was like the puzzles were done, but we had to build this, like the story and like all this stuff. I built this. I just keep adding story to it, and then we had some people go through. For example, Retrograde went through our labyrinth, and it told me a lot about where people would have problems
Right.
and be stuck forever, and like where it might be a little easy to get through. And it told us the time like that it would take for someone to get through, and we were
Right.
kind of looking at an average time of about 3 hours. Like we would want people to stay in the labyrinth, and
Mhm.
potentially can be longer. So I just kept adding story elements. And I don't know if people remember from a long time ago, our first labyrinth, maybe in 2012.
Ah.
Must have been 2012. So very first labyrinth that I created.
Very,
Uh,
yeah.
and we called the place Puzzles. And we basically did a smaller version of this, of the movie Labyrinth.
That was our very, very
Yeah.
first deed.
So I created a
entire
character
game ever.
called Puzzleton. And I don't remember why I created that character, or something to do with the labyrinth. He wasn't a character in the labyrinth. He was a character that I would jump on and walk around in the labyrinth with. I remember. So I created him because we created like an underground, what do you want to call it? Like I can't remember what we called it.
The oubliette.
This was the oubliette. This was back on Deliverance, and we put
Back on Deliverance, yes.
we put this was our very first deed, actually. We put these little tiny or the coffins all in the oubliette, and each section, remember, was like Puzzleton the fourth and Puzzleton the third, and it would be
Right.
like, and so I created the character Puzzleton. And I killed him like 10 times, like over and over again. And I collected his corpse. This is back when the corpses were actually like human and not in a body bag.
Right. They look like a skeleton or something like that.
No, did they? I can't remember. I thought they looked like I seriously can't remember, actually. And I put them in the coffins, and then I forgot about the character. So this time around, Puzzleton is a character in the labyrinth. So, and I don't know if I can show you guys a little bit here. Passing
Are
some
you
of
able
these
to-
signs here.
Are you able to show the Discord picture? I don't know if you want to.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I should like share my screen so it's easier.
How did
Okay,
we get
so
a
here
deer
you
in
go.
here?
I put the deer in there.
Okay,
I
you
should be
put him
like,
in,
it's
yeah.
magical, it just appeared in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you go. So my adventure begins. I will save the girl's brother and be back before supper. No puzzle will stop me, for my name is Sir Puzzleton. And so this is the beginning of his journey as he goes in before you did. So you're kind of like reading his journals almost as you're going through and seeing his experiences in the situations that you are in. And this is how I also am able to provide the clues that are necessary just in case you might be stuck. So there's more to this labyrinth than just finding the exit. It's finding these signs as well, if you want to know.
Right.
And today so I put all these signs up and kept putting more and more up as we found that people were getting stuck. And eventually today I thought, wouldn't it be nice if people knew what happened? Maybe people would be curious to know, because there was not, like, he just stopped talking and then you just go into the castle and then you do the whole thing in the castle and then like that's it. So there's like kind of like a place where you can now find Sir Puzzleton and see the end of his adventure.
Right. You know what was funny is that in addition to Retro going through this maze, and a couple other people, we got my 7-year-old son to try to go through this maze. And he loved it.
He did, yeah.
He made it. I mean, he has it. He got through the first part of it up to the puzzle city.
I was
that, like, little bridge
surprised
there.
that he even got that far.
I know. It was amazing, and he loved it. He keeps talking about it, and
He didn't
one
want to
thing that-
stop.
I know he didn't want to stop. Now, one thing that was interesting about how he perceived the maze was that he thought that he was Sir Puzzleton.
Oh, really?
that when he was reading those signs, he was like thinking, I'm Sir Puzzleton and I'm going through the maze. Like he was taking on that persona, which was kind of interesting.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
would never have thought that somebody would be thinking that way.
Right. But this is how a 7-year-old thinks.
That's really cool. So
He loved it. He still talks about it. You know, he tells me that he wants to watch the video after it's done of people going through the maze.
So yeah, so we are, I mean, about that, we're going to open it,
Right.
obviously. Like, we want
Right.
people to come to this maze, and it's going to be really soon. Like,
1
literally,
week from
it's
today.
going to be next week. Yeah.
1 week from today.
Sometime during the next weekend. It was supposed to be this weekend, but there was a slight technical difficulty. And you're not
And
just going to
now-
hear it from us. You will,
Right.
it'll, like, we're in
now for our
contact. There you
official
go.
announcement.
Are we going to announce? No.
Come on. They're
Okay.
all here waiting for us to announce this.
Yeah, if you haven't played Wurm for a while, jump on. We're literally like a minute or two away from Vrock's Landing. And we have, I'm pretty sure we showed this before, but we have the highway system. So you can just go, and if you don't know how to get there, and you can just use the highway system to find us. We're not
Right.
that far away, so let's say find route. Vrock's Landing.
To be honest, I asked Retro
I did not spell it
whether or not
right.
we could announce this now.
And what did he
And
say?
he didn't reply, so I'll take that as a yes.
We're only 190 tiles from Vrock's Landing. All right. So it's going to open. It's going to open next week. And it's going to be an official Wurm event.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see the announcement in, I believe, next week's news. Yeah, so don't tell anybody. I don't know if we're supposed to tell this. It's going to be a permanent, as far as I know, because I've just been hearing about this. It may be a permanent fixture in Wurm.
It's an indefinite permanent fixture.
And there's going to be a prize that you can get for beating our
Yes.
labyrinth.
A unique prize specific to beating this labyrinth that you can take home with you and display in your house or on your deed anywhere you like. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
What that is, I don't really want to say. Because
We'll leave
even
that to be a
I don't
surprise.
really know. Okay, I'm lying. I do kind of know. It's not ready yet, apparently.
Right. And that's the delay that we're waiting for.
And, okay, so because it's a permanent fixture, not really a permanent fixture, okay, so we still have to pay upkeep, and we still have to keep it up. As soon as we forget, I should rephrase that. As soon as Adam forgets to pay upkeep,
Right.
it's gone. Like, there's no more labyrinth. You can no longer get the prize. Yeah, so that's a lot of pressure.
Right. Good thing I'm not the mayor.
Who is the mayor? I don't know. It's me, isn't it?
Yep. It's you.
I mean, I
In
should
fact-
really be checking.
When I scroll over your name, in fact, I think if you scroll over your nameplate,
Well,
it
good
says
news. 206
mayor.
days. Huh?
Mayor of... This is a new addition. They made it so that if you hover over somebody's name, it tells you their role in the deed that they're in. So for you, it says Mayor of Puzzle Labyrinth.
And you are the puzzle master, see? You
Am
have the
I?
cooler name.
I kind of remember you making a puzzle master role.
Yeah. Although
Nice.
I'm pretty sure you can still go through the labyrinth without. I might have taken away all of your abilities just so that you can go through it without any issues.
Right. So the next announcement is that next week, 1 week from today, we are going to be doing our first official factional fight episode stream, whatever you want to call it. Like this, as I said, this is like the informal one, one that we were just like messing around and testing our Twitch stuff. So next week we're going to be doing an official one, and we're inviting as many people as whoever wants to come to the Labyrinth, because by then the event will be on, the prize will be available to get if you beat the Labyrinth, and we're going to do a stream watching all of you go through the Labyrinth for the very first time. So that'll be next Saturday.
Yeah, come be on our stream. We'll see how laggy we can get the zone, the area.
But from what I understand, they fixed all the laggy issues with having lots of people in the area. So,
from what we understand, do we
man,
really?
That was so 2013.
I still remember our old stream from when we went to the Impalong,
Right.
and we literally had to turn off every setting down to
And there
zero.
was 30 people in the zone, and there was like no way we were moving.
It was funny. I should watch that one day.
Right.
All right, so getting back to the actual stream, just want to make sure. Does Adam have to turn up his volume at all? Anybody can answer that.
I did turn up my volume. I didn't check to see if it was okay now.
Also, how is the chat? Because I can change the size of the chat window again. Let me do 900, see what's going on here.
Very good.
Is it getting too wide? And for some reason, every time I change the size, it deletes everybody's messages.
As well, I think I'm going to have to run to the bathroom.
That's great.
So I will be back.
Gotta love streaming. Yeah, so maybe we can type some stuff out here. Testing the new size of chat window. Apparently I'm not logged into that. So I have to go over here. Alright. And I'm assuming I'm going to have to mute everything here. It is muted. So let's test over here. Testing the chat. That's interesting. Maybe I like it more. I like it more skinny here. So yeah, I started trying out. So this is the first time I'm trying out the Streamlabs version of OBS. I did not know about this. Like last week. I just kind of stumbled on it, and it seems like everybody's using it, and because I didn't stream, nobody told me, so I'm completely out of the loop on this thing. There's all these different themes, and I spent like a day going through all these themes and trying to make it look really cool, and I ended up not using one because I couldn't find one that really suited Wurm. But I like the fact that it has already built in, basically everything's built in. The chat window's built in. The all these new alert systems are built in. It's kind of really cool to see. I just don't really know how it works. I just have some of the basic stuff going right now. I see that we could add alert boxes, which I did. Something called the jar, which I don't know what it is. The event list. The event list looks like... Here, let me just add it just to see what's going on with this. So the event list is added. Nothing's on it. So I really don't know what is going to be on it. It looked like when something changed, or I'm not really sure. So I'll leave it there. There's credits, sponsor banners, spinning wheels. Why would you need a spinning wheel?
Are you now talking about the Twitch?
Yeah, the Streamlabs OBS.
Okay.
You could add donation goals, viewer counts. So let me add the viewer count and see how that looks.
Right, this is one thing that we wanted to do on this stream, is just like figure out Twitch with you guys.
Did that work? Does anybody see? You're still quieter.
I'm still a little bit quieter, so I'm going to turn myself up just a little bit more.
I added it to the top. Oh, where's that? Oh, I see. There it is. We got 18 people. It's not bad. And apparently it does more than Twitch, like if we were on YouTube at the same time. Could we do YouTube and Twitch at the same time? I don't know if my bandwidth could handle that.
So wait, that little thing that you just put up there is telling us how many people are currently watching?
Correct.
Is that right?
In real time.
But what's weird is that number and the number that's actually below our Twitch is different. Like below the number that says
That's
how many
odd.
people are watching, and then that number. Okay. That's weird.
I don't know. I see 18 people in the chat.
I see 13 people in the chat.
So it's not exactly accurate. What can you say? Do we need that to be on the stream? Do people want stuff like that on the stream? I don't think that.
Here's the thing. I think that people who are watching the stream have the ability to see how many people are watching because it's right there on the stream already. I don't think we need to put this number on the screen.
All right, I'm removing the number. Oop. Okay, what else do we have here?
There is one thing that we wanted to do though, and that was connect somehow our Patreon information to this.
Right. So I saw earlier today that there may be a way.
And that way we can have, because there's certain stats that Patreon has that would be interesting, I think. And if you guys are in the browser, you could probably see, if you scroll down, I put a little Patreon link there, which was a service that we started, we hooked up with last time we came back, and it's been super successful. It's helped us immensely with in the game. We bought so many materials to create not only the Labyrinth, but also other things that we were doing on the stream. But mostly the Labyrinth. We bought a ton of bricks and a ton of mortar and a ton of like planks and everything, and we did that all with Patreon money, like the money that people had donated to us through the stream and through Patreon. And yeah.
Are you do you have your phone with you, Adam?
I do.
Are you able
you
to
need me to send you the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that not still there? Because I sent it to you last time, no?
Oh, did you? Let me try it.
Hold on. Okay, I can send it to you in the one that you sent me. Hold on, let me just see here. Nobody can see this, right? I'm just... Yeah, okay.
Did you get a SMS? So apparently I do have it.
Okay. Oh, I see. I did get an SMS. Okay, so I'm gonna have to send that to you. Is that what's happening?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is like the most boring stream right now.
I know, this is just like, yeah. I kind of have to remember this number. I will write it here.
I do want to get to a few topics that are actually worm related.
Okay. You had mentioned that you had thought of some things that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. But I'll let you do this first because I know you can't think.
But this was definitely one thing that we wanted to get set up, and that was just get the Twitch environment all set and ready to go.
All right, let's see what this does. I don't even know if this does anything. It's making me type out storefronts. Oh, and now it's sending you another message.
Is it? I did get another one. You need that number?
Yeah. So what is everybody in the chat? What have you guys been up to this last half a year?
Yeah, have you guys been playing Wurm? Have you guys been sticking with it? Like I've been hanging around and recently got right back into it. And I've been playing quite a bit recently. What about you guys?
I've been doing a lot of I've been working a lot, so that's what took a lot of my time.
Right.
And I've also do have other projects going on that are neither work or worm related. Let's allow that. So there you are. So you're in
Deathwind, you've been in Unlimited for a while, eh? What server did you play on?
So I linked Patreon.
Oh, cool. I see that. That's awesome.
So, okay, so look at the alert. Is this something that we want on our screen?
Wait, which alert?
I guess it's not an alert as much as it's an event.
The pledge? The pledge?
Yes.
Like people pledging?
I don't know.
Definitely. I think that's perfect. I think we would like to. I would personally like to have that on the screen.
You would like it right here
Is
above
it
your face?
is it a real time? Is it a real time thing? Is it like if somebody?
I think it is.
Okay, that's awesome. Not over my face though.
Above your face? I don't know. I don't know where to put this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, above my face would probably be okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you guys find this annoying, I can always remove it.
What I like about it is that it gives people credit. You know, people get to see their name on there.
Do people
a
want
little bigger.
Want to have the credit?
I can't read. I mean to say, like, so recently, as I said, I started watching a whole bunch of streams, Twitch streams, and one thing that they added on Twitch since the last time we were streaming was you can buy what they call bits and use those bits to cheer your favorite Twitch streamers. And so you cheer, and every time that you if you give 100 bits in your cheer, then that gives the streamer $1. So for every 100 bits, it's $1. And when you do that, your name gets put up onto a list of, you know, where you rank in terms of how much you've pledged. And I just got a kick out of cheering for people and getting my name up onto the top. And on top of that, when, let's say you get to first, second, or third, you get a little icon next to your name every time that you chat. So you see how, like, you see how Deathwind there? Deathwind has a little crown, a blue and white crown next to his name in the chat. That's if you scroll over it, it tells you it's a Twitch Prime. And also Des Maddock has that too. So it's a Twitch Prime thing. But if you donate to the Twitch streamer and you're on the top 3, you get also another little a medallion there that tells you that you're like 1, 2, or 3, which I think is it's nice. It's just a little recognition for that person who's, pledged
Did
a
I
good
not
amount.
snuff this? Wait a second. Okay. Come in here. Tell me I'm not
Okay.
going crazy.
You are going crazy.
No. So
I think
okay.
that if you have to activate your steel and flint.
So I activated my steel and flint. I snuff
Yeah.
it. It goes out
Yeah.
and then comes right back on.
Right. Okay. I see that.
Which okay. Snuff. Okay, what am I missing? What am I not doing? There must be something I'm not doing.
I think that it's automatically always on at night. Is that a thing?
Is it automatically always on at night?
That's kind of weird.
Huh. So our house will just always be on fire because we have no way of building chimneys. I cannot snuff this fire out. I'm sorry.
Right. So Deathwind's on Mythmore. I guess that's Mythmore Prime. I hopped on there for a second and saw the action timers and the
What kind of
skill
server is
game.
it?
It's like one of the fast ones, I think.
So
It had a really nice setup.
You can build like a really like a big thing. Does that make sense? You could build like huge projects and it wouldn't take as long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't
We
complain
always-
with that.
We always said that if Wurm Online was twice as fast, that would be okay. But personally, I feel like any faster than that, and it devalues the work that, like it. If you build something like this place on Mythmore Prime, it wouldn't take all that long, I don't think.
Sure, you're gonna devalue my my designing skills.
I don't think it's the designing skills. I think it's just the sheer amount of time investment in making this place.
Well, one thing that I can say is we spent a lot of time here, and
Drakeling here can attest, right, Drakeling? He was here. Drakeling was here with us when we started this place.
And when was that?
This was at least 3 years ago, at least. And we were doing it on. I think we were making videos at that time of the start
of terraforming of this place. Yeah, I'm sure we could find that.
We definitely have a video. We have the video. There's definitely a video where we traveled to this place for the very first time and planted the deed on a stream on a episode. I don't know if you remember that, but we wanted to create a video where we showed people how to make a deed, like go through the whole process of planting a deed and going through those, like the deed borders and everything like that. And we did that here for the very first time, and that was like good 3 years ago. And Drakeling was with us, and we started. The first thing we did was dig the whole front area, and we had a few people helping with us with that. Most of them stopped quite shortly after that because of how much effort it was. It was kind of insane.
Yeah, so we couldn't have done this without everybody's help. So yeah, thanks Drakeling for actually.
But Drakeling stuck with it. I kind of remember him being there for quite a while, and we were doing quite a lot of work on this place. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I feel so relieved that it's done, and I'm kind of really excited to get people in here finally, and to see them kind of going through the labyrinth and seeing how they solve. I don't know, it's just the puzzles that we put in there. But then the question is, what happens after that?
What's
so
our next
we're
thing?
finally done. we're finally done the labyrinth. We finally get the event out of the way, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we haven't been able to do because we've been stuck in this labyrinth, and that's the stuff that we kind of want to be streaming moving forward, I think. And there's just a lot of things that I haven't done. Did you know that we haven't been to Deliverance since 2014?
That's kind of crazy to me.
2014.
I remember leaving Deliverance and I went to Chaos.
Yeah.
And then from Chaos, I came to Xanadu. And I've been here ever since. I haven't gone back.
I have no idea what it looks like. And when I was able to watch who was it, Catspur's stream yesterday, and she mentioned just that she may have had a video of after Autumn Twilight went down. I got a little excited until she finally told us that she didn't have the video anymore. She must have deleted it or something because it took up a lot of space in on her hard drive. But it kind of saddened me because it is the one place that we didn't film the event that we held there. So we held this big event, and we have no video evidence of it, and I don't have any evidence of like the puzzles that I made in that castle. That castle was massive, and it held 7 buildings, the largest that they could be at the time that we could make.
Right, like each building was as large as was it 96 carpenter can make?
Something like that. Yeah.
And there were 7 of them, and they were all connected.
As much as we could.
Although
no
as much
bridges.
as we could, because there was no bridges back then. This was before bridges. But
And
7 buildings all connected into one massive castle, and it was an insane puzzle, like labyrinth.
And I think we had quite a lot of people from what I remember.
Right. We timed the event
like 15 to 20 people going through it together.
Remember, I think it was Battle Pants, or it was at Battle Pants's deed, which was maybe 5 minutes from our place on Deliverance. He held an Impelon, and we asked him if it would be okay if we could announce like an event at our place. So we grabbed. It must have been maybe 15 people came along.
Look at that, Drakeling. The room with all the statuettes. I completely forgot about that room, and I believe that was one of the rooms that had a reward in it, if I remember correctly. Now I don't remember, and I can't even remember the puzzles that I put. I kind of remember some of it, and I just kind of remember that it would just take way too long for one person to do it or to accomplish it. And so the event was a collaborative thing that people came, and like I don't have a record of who came, and I can't really remember. I just remember how they were solving it and how they were working together to piece together the clues from each building, and then the ending of figuring out what those clues meant and finding the reward at the end. Like it just basically just lives on in my memory. So I've got no video proof. So it's kind of fading away. If I should.
What I remember is that you distinctly wanted the event to be a collaborative one. Like you didn't want people to be racing against each other, and so it was designed specifically to be a collaborative event where 15 people go in, or however many people go in, and everybody is really trying to help each other out into trying to like share information with each other. And the more that they shared the information with each other, the easier it was for them to get through it. And in the end, I think they all got through it like as a group faster than we anticipated them.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it might take a few hours for everybody to get through, and I think it ended up taking only 2, maybe an hour and a half or something like that. And from what I recall, everybody had a blast. Everybody loved it. And yeah, I kind of wish that it was still around.
We had something to prove that it happened, or some kind of memorial of it. Because that castle, we had a sign in the castle saying how many bricks and mortar approximately that it took to build it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what was on that. 90,000?
It was it was at the very least 80,000, but I have a feeling that was an underestimate of how many bricks and mortar went into that place. And it was Pekka's credit. He was the one. He came and joined us really early on in our video streaming, and he was like a brick making machine. He's like, I got an extra 10,000 bricks. I got another 10,000 mortar, and he would just be like cranking away month after month, just thousands and thousands of bricks and mortar.
Yeah, there were so many people that helped out on that one as well. And remember back then there was no different house walls or stone walls, so everything was just made out of stone bricks. There was no plain stone walls. It was just like every level had that banner around everything, and it's just what we did. It's just how we knew. I mean, we were just excited at that point to just have multi-story. Like, multi-story came into the game, and that was the first steed that we built with multi-story.
Oh, I see something. Do you see that light bar? If you turn around, like you just turn your screen, do you see that light bar moving around?
Yes.
Yeah?
There it is.
So this light bar, I remember pointing this out, I don't know how long ago, and I thought recently that all the new rendering changes and whatever, the light changes or whatever was going to fix this, but this bar I noticed is here around every sunset.
So
you get this little bar.
What I'm noticing with the bar is that I don't know if you see it on my screen, but when it's going down, it's like that line represents the distance that you see the new lighting rendering system, and anything beyond that line is like there is no lighting, or I don't know if it reverts back to the old system. I don't know. There's just basically no lighting. It just, everything's flat. So I don't know why that line exists. Something to do with the perspective of you looking at certain things. So see how, I don't know, if I'm looking directly this direction, there's no lighting at all. But as I tilt my head and that line kind of goes up, you see it go up, and you start seeing the lighting appear. And there's some lighting, but if I look down, not even down, I can't even see it from that angle. It's definitely something that probably shouldn't exist, but yeah, it's there.
It's there.
You see it more when you're outside. So right here. So as I turn my head,
so this must be morning happening.
You see that line right there, and it's going away.
Right.
And beyond it, there's no light. Like, there's the light, there's no light. A light, no light. And then you see it even more if you like, depending on how far you can see.
Right.
Like here, it doesn't even look like a line. It's just
trees. Right.
Which maybe something that they can look at, or maybe it's our computers. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is during one of our last episodes, it was the new year, so 2018 just started, and we were talking about what we feel Wurm needs to do this year in order to have a successful year.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, there was the years of bridges, multi-story. Did you know that multi-story came in 2012?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, like, we started Wurm in 2012, but we started at the very beginning of the year. So, almost 10 or 11 months into our Wurm career, that's the wrong word, Wurm adventure, all of a sudden multi-story came in, and it came in during, I believe it was December. Like, it was almost like a holiday treat. And then
Okay.
at that time we were building up the marketplace, the Deliverance market. I don't remember what it's called, the deli market. And the only place that we had the ability to test out this new multi-story feature was inside of the little house that we had there. So we just started building this house like really high, and I just remember just doing all these weird things because at the time it was a lot less restrictive.
So this you were talking. This was at
The marketplace.
the market. What is that place called again? The deli marketplace.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was called Puzzles. Didn't I think it was Zalafir named it after.
Oh, the puzzle market.
Puzzle Market. Right.
And
Puzzle
yeah,
Plaza. That's what it
Puzzle
was.
Plaza. Okay, there you go. That's right.
Right.
So we built Puzzle Plaza.
You remember why he called it Puzzle Plaza?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately. And so we were building, we not just were building, but we built an entire labyrinth there, an entire maze there. And that maze in particular, hey, Meanwan, is that how you say it? Meanwan?
Hey, Meanwan.
Yeah, so the story at Puzzle Plaza, that labyrinth, which, by the way, was never released, even though it was completely finished. Completely finished. It was
great.
And
it was a great labyrinth. You know what? I think out of all of our labyrinths, that was the most dangerous labyrinth to go through.
I love that one. And there was some issues at the time. So I had built it with the idea of mine doors being one-way exits, and they needed to be rock mine doors. And at the time, I had maybe 15 to 20 of them in this labyrinth, and at the time,
which sounds like nothing compared to this one.
Yeah, so they naturally decayed, like even on
yeah.
deed at the time. So they would be decaying every few months or something. They'd just be gone. And I had to continuously like make more and then go into the labyrinth and figure out where they were supposed to be and keep placing them down.
See, wasn't that an issue with the original one?
That was an issue with the original one, and that's why I kept a character there just to create those rock mine doors, just to keep it up. And now I don't have to worry about it. It's like this is the first labyrinth where everything's basically, self-sufficient. I can leave this labyrinth and I know that it's going to keep its adventure going, other than maybe some collapses in the mines. I hope that the mines won't collapse.
Right. That was a big change they made. I can't remember when they made it, but when they made it so that mine doors don't decay on deed, that was like, I remember when you found that was being put into the game, you were just so relieved, because at the time you would go and make like 30 new rock mine doors at a time, and you'd beat them up to like as high as you can, like 80 quality or whatever, and bring them to the. I remember you would travel all across the server, because we were living at Autumn Twilight, and you would go all the way back to Puzzle Labyrinth and replace all of the mine doors.
Yeah, it was a long journey, and I had to do it a lot. So, hey, it's nighttime now. Yeah. So anyway, the labyrinth at Puzzle Plaza was the most unique one in the sense that it was designed specifically to be a race or a tournament. So there was like a starting line, and everyone got to enter it at the same time, and then the point, or after about halfway through, so after they get through this like kind of big maze portion. Then it entered into a just as large area that was more like a race. So it started off as, I believe, a hedge maze, and we were very excited about that at the time because hedges just came into the game. So we were like, oh, we can build hedges, look at this. And we started building like a little hedge maze where there was one way out, but depending on which way you go could be longer than others. And then it transitioned into another area that was just literally all olive trees. Like it just, and at the time the olive trees could be like really large and block all these different ways to go, and I didn't even know what would be the best way to go because the trees would just naturally get larger and smaller, and I would have some walls somewhere just to dictate the path. And then after you left that area, thank you for following us. After you left that area, it was essentially just 4 paths, all identical, and separated by fences, like almost like a running lane or something. And at the end of each path was a fence, and each fence would lock and unlock throughout the day at random times. Right. So that only one of the fences was ever open at any given time, but I would have no idea which one was open. So, and no one else would. It's just, you would have to just run down this long path, get to the end, find out whether it was open or not, and run all the way back.
I wonder if people know, like, is that system still in the game?
Being able to automate the locking and unlocking of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that still in the game?
Does anybody know that?
I wonder how many people know that this was actually a part of the game, or is still part of the game where if you own a deed, you can specify like a certain time of day where a particular gate on your deed unlocks or locks, and you can automate that. Like, it will unlock every day at 8 a.m. in game time, and it will lock at 6 p.m. I don't know if like that's still in the game, but it used to be for sure.
I don't see it. Maybe it's in a different area.
I don't know if you remember this, Brian, but at the very first puzzle Labyrinth, we had a part of the labyrinth where it was just like every single tile had gates around it. It was like a big grid of gates.
Yeah, of course.
We designed this whole place to unlock and lock at certain times a day, so that at any given hour of the day, the maze would be different. Yeah. And then if the hour ticked over, it would change. But we never ended up.
We never did it.
There was something wrong. I think we broke the game.
Yeah, we made too many locks. Correctly. So there was apparently a limit to how many fences you could have on deed to manage, and we went past that limit, and it made it so it made all of the fences unmanageable in the system.
Right. Something happened and we broke the game. But later I kind of remember them fixing it because we broke it, they fixed it. But we never got it to work the way we wanted it to.
Yeah, it was too little too late, I think, at that point, for that labyrinth anyway. And now I don't think that system exists anymore.
Is it gone? Like you can't unlock or lock gates?
I don't know. I guess nobody knows really in the chat. I've never seen it. I haven't heard about it.
That was an awesome feature.
Maybe if you go to a gate. Here's a good question. Did I unlock this gate? I'm assuming I did. It is unlocked. Manage gate, history of gate.
Oh, it wouldn't work well if you had to go to each gate. Permissions.
So let's say I do citizens.
I kind of remember there was a command that
opened that up. Yeah, at the time, I think
because there was no permission system back then. there was none of this. There was.
Let's
Remember
see if
exactly how to
Google
do it, though.
knows.
If Google knows. 6 years ago in Wurm Online, how could you manage the gates? But that was a cool system where you could set the time at which the gates unlock, and then again set the time when the gate locks. It made for an interesting mechanic where you could create a maze and program it so that it would be a different maze at every single hour of the day.
Yeah, I wish they kind of expanded on it. Yeah, it was kind of broken and kind of hard to work with, but
I do remember spending countless hours creating a maze for every hour.
You designed that whole thing, and the thing about that particular maze was that at any given time there was no way to get through it.
Right.
There was, and you would have to know where to stand to unlock, and then at the right time to unlock the next portion of the maze. So you literally had to get stuck in the maze. I think there was 3 variations of the maze, and you had to be in a specific area, get the doors to, flip the locks, and then go to the next area, get the doors to flip the locks again, and then only then you would make it out. And
I remember making it so that if you knew exactly what you were doing, you could do it within 3 hours. Like, you would walk in, get to a certain point, wait for the locks to all switch, and then you could get a little bit farther in the maze, and then you'd have to wait till the locks all switch again, and then you would get to the end.
Do you mean 3 worm hours, not 3 regular hours?
3 worm hours.
Okay. And that's approximately like 30 minutes even. That's like a long time.
Is it?
Isn't it something like that? Well, maybe not. That
8 times less. So
every hour is how long? I don't even remember
every
actually.
Hour. Well, 60 divided by 8 is less than 8. 7 minutes. So every 7 minutes is a worm hour.
So
7.5 minutes or so.
22 minutes.
Yeah. So it would take at minimum 22 minutes to get to this area of the maze.
I kind of remember thinking maybe this is a little, going a little bit too far. You're literally getting people stuck in our maze. Yeah, we never actually did that.
Yeah.
So back to the topic that we're actually talking about.
Yeah.
So Wurm had a lot of big years in the past. And we were talking about what would we need Wurm to do in order for them to consider this year a success. And I can't remember what you said. Do you remember what you said?
I have no idea what I said.
Okay. Forget about that. It's been 6 months. Has it been a success so far in the first half?
In my opinion?
Yeah.
I think it's been a wild success.
And
the amount of updates they've had in the last 6 months has been insane.
And why?
Just discounting everything else, if you just consider the putting items on top of other items, that's all you need to consider, because that is a huge improvement on the game that changes everything for most everybody.
Am I jaded to say where's hanging items on ceilings
or walls
or walls, huh?
or taxidermy? Yeah. But still, at least this lays the foundation for that to be added. Getting
true.
Items on top of other items is at least the first step in getting things hanging on walls or hanging off of ceilings or whatever. And so I think that them being able to put that into the game is just a huge success. Huge, huge, huge success.
Okay, that's not all they've done this year, obviously.
Right.
We've talked about some of the other stuff that they did, but you're saying just that would have made this year a success?
Totally. At least in my opinion. But there are definitely other things that I'm sure other people would consider to be the thing that made Wurm a success this year.
You know what? I remember what you said.
What's that?
You said that they would have to put in animal crates because they've been talking about it for so long. Have they done that yet? I don't even know.
Yes, they did. They did put in animal crates.
So there are animal crates. How come I have not made one yet?
I don't know.
Let's take a look. So animal crate. Are you sure they put it in? Crate.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Animal. I don't know. Animal. No. Crate.
Does anybody know in the chat if they actually put animal crates into the game and what it's actually called?
I really thought. Oh, creature cage. There it is. Creature cage.
Creature.
See, Kilroth is talking in Alliance chat. He's not talking in the stream.
Oh shoot. Okay. Thank you, Kilroth, for listening in somewhere.
Creature cage.
And answering my questions like a person in my ear. All right, so creature cage. So how have I not made one yet? Let's see.
16 nails. What does it need 16 nails for?
We got 16 nails. I'm more concerned. So what we did is when we finished up the labyrinth, we cleaned up and we sent all of our stuff back into our factional fight village, which we still have. And I went back there recently and saw the building that I created there and thought, what the heck was I thinking? It's so huge. What am I gonna do with this huge? And then, like, remember it was connected with the mine underneath, and we were gonna build this huge house under. I don't know what I was gonna do with that. But that was so cool. Like when I look at it, it just amazing. They really should allow us to build basements like that. Just how it was so cool the way that building worked. And it should be something like that. Shouldn't it be like you dig down the dirt, okay? And then you build the house layers and then give us the ability to then push dirt into the hole to make the bottom foundation like gone, basically, like into the ground, buried into the ground.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Give us real basements, essentially. So you know what we did that building. So we dug down.
Make it so
I don't have to put bridges.
Right, so you don't have to put bridges. Huh. Sure. I don't see how they're going to do that, though. I think that the way that we did it was as good as it's could get, but that's just me.
You
Maybe
remember,
I'm just not imaginative enough.
Do you remember when we had Buddha on our show last, and we asked him what is possible? What is like technically possible in Wurm? And you remember what his answer was?
No.
His answer was anything is possible. It just needs time to be implemented. They can code.
I do recall that.
Yeah, anything. So whatever we think of, basements, placing things on walls, it's tree houses. It's all possible, and we all expect it to happen. As long as we give you time, right? That's all we need to give you. So
why haven't tree houses been put in yet?
Because no one's constantly asking for them, apparently. I don't think I've seen one person request tree houses in the last year. I'm probably wrong, but it
was just you.
Yeah. We'll just build really tall, skinny houses, and, and then link them with bridges, and then put big cedar trees so that it looks like we're in the sky, and we just never come down. It could be done. Is that our next project? See Adam just cringe.
Yeah.
Like, we're not building the treetop city.
But a good question is, what is our next project? I've had a few ideas floating around in my head.
I would love to go back to Delhi just for a few streams or so.
Right.
But what is our next big project? I don't know. Anything's open. We do have ideas. I would definitely like to travel.
What I do want to do with the traveling is also work on our archaeology.
Yes.
I know that you've been interested in starting archaeology. And
yes.
I'm
I did
really
a few.
Starting archaeology. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've started a little bit, but, working it up and getting...
It's official. They're making underground tree houses.
Right.
Thank you, Retro. No.
There you go.
Oh, that would be funny. Yeah, so archaeology. Finally, I mean, we did the episode where we learned about archaeology and we kind of tested it out a little bit, but we never had time to actually do it. And I finally had some time this weekend or this week. So I was sort of not really off of work, but I was able to stay home and do sort of like a virtual class this whole week, and I kind of snuck, Wurm in one of my screens while listening to the teacher.
You're not allowed to do that at work at all?
Yeah, I wish if I could put Wurm on a screen at my work, I'd never be out of Wurm. It would just always be there. I wish.
I know, me too. I'm off for the next few weeks though. But once that starts up again, it's like, man.
Yeah.
I'll be able to get what I was telling you earlier was that I feel that once my work begins, and I get into the thick of things, I feel like I have more time to stream. I definitely have less time to play. but once I'm on vacation, I have like no time to stream, but I have more time to play. It's kind of weird how that works.
That is kind of funny. All right, I really want to build a creature cage. So
okay,
let's figure this out. 1 plank, 1 large nail to start off.
Yeah,
I know that we have nails.
Crate. You put some crate.
What am I doing here?
Storage up there. I didn't see that before.
Yeah, I took 64 large nails. I don't think I quite need that many.
Okay.
Let's take a look. I need 17.
Are each of those crate racks like
24 planks? I've got 6 planks.
Crate in them or what? How did you do that?
I'm doing it the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
Creature cage. There you go.
See,
what skill is this?
The last time I was here at the
cave houses. That sounds
the
nice.
Labyrinth.
Ooh.
I spend all my time sending all of our crates back to our deed, and I left with leaving those 4 crates sitting there with a couple nails and planks and
like
stuff.
You need to now create fence bars. There are no fence bars in the Labyrinth.
Okay.
Surprisingly, how did we not realize that these were how did I not realize these were in the game? Look at them. I could have created a nice jail-like area in this labyrinth. No more time. I would if I had time, but I can at least create this one. Here, I'll as we're talking, I'll put the nails in, and then hopefully you can create some fence bars.
You need me to create some fence bars?
6, please. It's like, where am I gonna get it?
Where am I gonna get metal?
And you're like a 90-something whatever blacksmith. And
I'm telling you, I literally sent everything back.
okay, there's
to
some
our
lumps. I see a 20
Is
to
there some lumps?
25 lump of iron in this building. What's in these backpacks?
Okay. It's the lumps that I left there.
Bronze, copper, gold. I guess you don't need any of that.
Okay. Do we have
I
anything to
think
light that
that's it.
forge with?
Do we have anything to light that forge with? That's a good question. Okay, yes. As I was making planks before, I do have some wood scraps.
Because as I said, I literally sent everything back to our deed, and it's all gone. We have a few
Too far
logs
away. How about this?
and a few
Yeah.
nails.
Does anybody know what skill the creature cage is? Let's see. I see carpentry going up.
Is it fine carpentry or carpentry?
I've only seen carpentry go up. Can you make fence bars out of other materials than just iron?
I think they made it so that you can make. I'm not sure exactly what they made, but they definitely made it so that you can
I'm
make lots
failing
of
this.
different items out of lots of different metal types. And that
Okay.
is new since the last time we recorded.
So far only carpentry's been going up. So if it's a carpentry skill, I'm using 56 quality nails. I have 99.27 carpentry. And I failed 3 or 4 out of the 6 times that I queued. What kind
So
of
they
level is it? But it was an 84% chance of success. So yeah, only
It must
iron,
be hard to make.
unfortunately, for iron fence bars. Thanks, Retro. I guess no gold bars yet. No gold fence bars.
Gold fence bars. That would be cool. You can make like a whole fence.
You know what the
and
problem
it
is?
looks like gold.
Yeah. If you included all that stuff, they would have to make now even more different texture. I don't know if they can change that in the hues or whatever they added in the rendering. Make it look bronze or gold and just make the fence bars look all cool and shiny
Right.
with the specular map. Huh? That I think that I'm pretty sure they added to the game. You know, all they're missing is that parallax map, I think. That's the one that makes textures even more, like adds so much more depth to the textures.
What's that?
There's
What
a
makes-
map called parallax map, I believe. Let me see if
Okay.
I'm saying that right. They did
Parallax map.
not. Yeah. Yeah, it's parallax mapping. So it's the one that if you apply it to a surface, it makes that surface have like a crazy amount of depth on top of what's already like in Wurm. If they added that, yeah, stones would look like they're coming out. Parallax mapping
Ooh.
is being looked at.
Interesting. See,
Some juicy
I
nuggets
come
right
from
here.
I come from a physics background, and the word parallax to me means that effect that you get when you like, if you move your head to the left and to the right, like how one object will, if there's an object that's closer to you compared to another one that's farther from you, if you move your head to the left and to the right, the one that's closer to you will be moving to the left and to the right more than the one behind you or farther from you, if that makes sense. That's what the word
Sorta.
parallax means to me.
Yeah, that's definitely not what it means in the 3D modeling world. And
Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, you can Google it. You can see some pictures.
Okay.
It's quite impressive. It's not new. Like it's been around for a long time, but just see how impressive things seem like they're sticking out, like they're of their kind of flat surface.
So Retro, I hope you don't mind, but we kind of announced the opening of the Labyrinth.
What are you talking? We didn't know. We didn't say anything. And another topic. So we were talking about Wurm and what we would want to see moving forward. Did we ever finish
Isn't that
topic?
what we always talk about?
That is what we always talked about. So, in that sense, so I was listening to a stream. No, actually, I was talking to, I guess, I was talking to Catspur, like on that same stream that I was talking about earlier, and
Okay.
we're talking about that Wurm has been talking like what's happened to the new UI. So during my last stream, you said animal like creature cages. They met that. We're building one right now.
Okay, so we're going back like a bunch of topics that.
Yes,
we were
this is what we do.
ago. Okay.
And
yes.
then what I said was they need the new UI system. They talked about it for like a year. This is the year. This is that big year where we're all gonna get a new. I don't know what to call it. If it's like a new way of playing.
This was the beginning of 2018. You're saying by the end of 2018, the new UI better be in. Is that what you were saying?
That was my statement at the time. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It is. I guess not as much of a statement right now because I'm not sure that is possible at this point. I can only speculate. But
well, I kind of remember they were really pushed. Like they had announced that UI was going to be a main focus, and since then there has been it's been dead silent about the UI.
Right. And that's how do I have no logs? I've got. I should not have discarded that log at the beginning. Okay, so yeah, okay, still your goal. This is what I wanted, and so I kind of had that discussion with Catspur for a little while, and she was saying that Wurm has this old school charm in its UI, and this is she started the conversation by saying she has been a UI artist. I don't know if it was a UI designer or just the artist of the UI, since the 90s, so on video games. And she looks at Wurm's UI and she says it has this old school charm that we're all familiar with, obviously, and that she wouldn't want a new fresh coat of paint on it. But my understanding of what the new UI would be is not so much a new fresh coat of paint, which, okay, I assume that there would be, but that it's more a new kind of a way to play to help. And the reason, so the whole reason that this would be worked on at all is you'd have to ask yourself the one question, which is, do you feel that the UI stops players from getting into the game?
Right. So like if let's say if a new player were to try Wurm
and get stopped because of the UI and the UI before they even get into it, and they're just looking whether it doesn't matter what the reason is, whether it's too complicated.
Right.
And as Retro's stating, when Wurm came onto Steam, with Wurm Unlimited, it apparently became very clear that obviously graphics were hurting, which we announced earlier in the stream that they were working on it for people that haven't been playing over the last 6 months. I don't know why I said it like that. Thank you so much. Lawworm Exo is now following us. Thank you. 2, UI, which is what we're currently talking about. And 3, the learning curve. Now, you could say that UI and learning curve are the same, are like basically intertwined.
No, they're intertwined, but I wouldn't say they're the same. Learning curve is like how the whole game works, whereas
It's
UI
how,
is just
not how the
you
whole game
interact with
works.
it.
I would argue that it's how the player learns while playing.
Okay.
So it's only as hard as
Right.
what Wurm presents to the player and how Wurm interacts, or how, sorry, I'm saying this backwards, how
I
the
see what you're
player
saying,
interacts with the game.
The game is only as hard as the UI allows the player to figure out how to interact with the game.
Yeah, and here's a perfect word from Retro. Natural. The natural way
Right.
that we expect the game to be played. And now here's the unfortunate thing.
Okay.
Wurm has what I would call a pre-World of Warcraft keyboard layout.
That's a good
Okay,
way
it's
of
a
putting it.
yeah, but it's a horrible way for me to put it. Like, I don't want to put it like this, but
Yeah.
have you, like, we went,
I know what you
and
mean.
for a little bit of time we went back to EverQuest. So we played okay, it's not a secret. We played EverQuest for like 7 years, a long time ago, and we went back to Project 99, something like that, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And the controls were pre, what was set up. There was no standard when EverQuest came out, so there was no like mouse to control your movement. That just wasn't a thing. Like, the mouse did not control your movement. Your keyboard did. And when you played EverQuest, you would have your keyboard kind of in front of you, and you would have your right hand on the cursor keys, your left hand on like where the control area was. Remember, there was no WASD or anything like that.
Right.
So you'd have you have your fingers where like the control and alt and that sort of thing was, and you would hold down control would allow you to strafe back and forth. Like, hold down control, you're now strifing, and then let go of control, and now you're like turning. And we got used to it. Like, we didn't think anything of this, but that's just how it was. And we played EverQuest for years like this.
Right.
And we got really good at controlling the game. And then, of course, time passes. We get on to other games. Games like World of Warcraft and others standardized the whole concept that we know today. Does Wurm need that concept of a UI, the way that you control the characters? Does Wurm need that to be introduced into it? Or do they need to do their own thing? Because right now, here's the obvious thing. When you left click, you're expecting, I guess, to more interact with the game. Or I should say that backwards. When you right click, you're expecting to turn your character. Right? That's just how it is. And I remember one day, we've talked about this before, and you suggested that they just put a setting where you just flip the controls. Make it so the left click does the right click and the right click does the left click, and we can choose. Right. And I don't know if that's enough. That might be a good start.
I think that's a natural thing that most people coming from other games will expect.
Have a tough problem with that, like, one thing alone.
Just that one thing. The right click and the left click feel like they're opposite.
And I think you could go back to another game, and I kind of remember this early on in EverQuest. Play another game for like a few weeks, come back to Wurm, and I've forgotten how to play Wurm. Like, I it's like I played for so long, but I'm right clicking again and I'm left clicking. Like it's not quite doing what I need it to do.
Right. That's an awesome way of putting it. Like I forgot to play Worm.
Yeah, that's what it feels like for a little while, and then you're kind of remember how to play it as you're playing it. I think that's when you realize, okay, yeah, the whole interaction with Wurm is a barrier to get into it.
Right.
To learn about what I'm actually doing.
Right. I gave my brother-in-law a Wurm Unlimited Steam access key, and I sat down with him at his place, and I was like, try to show him the game, and I thought he would be like the perfect. I thought he would be perfect for this game because he plays Rust and other survival games, and he loves the long, grindy type games. But for him, the one thing that prevented him from continuing on in Worm was just the way that, like, the buttons. Like I watched him, like I sat next to him and watched him play, and he was struggling, totally struggling with just. He would press the left click when he wanted to do what the right click did, and he would do the opposite. And he was so frustrated with it by the time that we got maybe 5 minutes in, just with the left click and the right click, that I thought to myself, like, if only there was a thing that allowed us to switch the left and right click, he'd be okay. But he was fumbling with it for about 5 minutes, and then just said, forget it. I can't control this game.
Yeah, so if this is the problem that's stopping a lot of people from getting into the game, they completely need to create this new UI. Like it is something that needs to happen. And I've presented in the past what I feel would be great. That I feel, because another thing that they could do while they're working on the UI is solve the issue that all Wurm players have when you get into like the advanced Wurm players, and that's you just don't have enough keys on the keyboard to bind everything you want to do. There's just it's not possible. And there was ways in the past that you'd get around it. You can hold the control or the alt and then get a new set of keys. I don't want to, like, it gets to that point where if you have too many hot buttons to the point where you don't even have enough keys on your keyboard to bind them. I'm
always finding a new thing that I want.
Do we need to have 5 keyboards?
I'm sitting there going through all my letters.
More keyboards.
Like, could I bind it to J? No K? No L? And I bind it, and it's like it replaced something else. And I'm like, oh no, I need that other thing.
Yeah. So why couldn't the game tell me? I mean, the game already tells me what I can do with a specific item. Right? The game tells us. We activate a mallet, and the game tells us whether we can do whatever we can do with that mallet on the ground, which is apparently plan a building, add to a building, and a bunch of like generic stuff. So we just need to have it so there's an action button, and that action button has a default main action to it that you can customize later if you wanted to, but that's your action. Maybe have 2 actions or 3 actions, or an easy way to cycle through the actions, like the mouse wheel or something like cycles through these actions, and that button changes depending on what item you're using.
So what you're saying is, like, let's say I activate my pickaxe, and then I hover over, like, I don't know, like a corpse, and I press like my space bar, which is my action button. Then that'll know, like, it'll like interpret that I mean to butcher it. Is that what you mean?
Correct. What else would you be doing to it with that?
Right. Like, what else? Like with the pickaxe, what else would I be doing to a corpse? But what if I instead I wanted to bury it?
So you
So I
take
activate
out.
my pickaxe, and I'm thinking in my head, I want to bury this corpse, and I press my action button, and it starts butchering it. Like, is there a way to make it so that I press my action button and I have like a selection of things I'm going to do to it or something? I don't know.
You want to eliminate accidental butchering of corpses with a
Right.
pickaxe. In particular. No. I'm sure that could be worked on. Or
Okay.
maybe the natural flow of
So like a
doing
right
this.
click menu.
I mean, how about if like it tells you what you would do if like while you're hovered over it? Is that not enough?
Okay. Okay. So kind of like how Skyrim is, where you have an item and you go over another item, and it gives you the options of what you can do to it, and you click the option that you want.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Tooltips, some really nice tooltips. You know what else I saw the other day? So I was repairing a building because for some reason this building in the Labyrinth was damaged. I don't know how that happened. And so every single wall and every single fence was like slightly damaged. So I made myself maybe 40 or 50 planks, and I was going to each one, and I noticed that so you can't put like 50 planks onto your tool belt. So that's not possible. But as we know, a pro tip, you can create a group. You can put the planks in the group, like so, like my building. And then you can take this building group and put it onto your toolbar. There you go. So,
okay.
All right, so I have this. I have the ability to click 4, and I'm activating the first plank in my toolbar.
I did not know that you could do this.
What? Okay.
I didn't know that you could put it, like, you can create a group and then you can put that group on your toolbar. I did not know that.
Yes. We talk about this
No, I don't think
at least a year or two ago.
Well, if we did, I would have known about it, but I didn't.
It was like the same. You can put, like, remember when we were talking about a long time ago, you put a bunch of seeds in like a pottery jar or something.
Okay,
and then you
that's
take the
completely
pottery
different.
jar.
I knew that you could put a pottery jar on your tool belt, but I didn't know you could put a group that you created on.
Well, they're both basically the same thing, right?
Not exactly the same thing. You can put the pottery jar on the ground.
Okay, this is completely taking away the whole point of what I wanted to say anyway.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead. Anyway, even with that ability to do that, now I think this is not going to be a great argument now that people are like, oh my god, I can do this, is the best thing in the world. And we don't need anything else. This is better than whatever I could say. I felt like there needed to be a way to queue up. I should say that wrong. I'm saying that wrong. Not queue up. Have like an area, or just change the tool belt so that you can put a stack of items into the tool belt. So instead of doing the container, or even if it was the container, let's keep it there. The problem I had was that I wasn't able to keep the container highlighted or active, because technically it was activating the first plank, and then I would apply that plank to the wall, and then I was now no longer activating anything.
Right.
So I almost felt like the action of repairing needed to be done maybe by the hammer or something. So I'm holding the planks, I activate a hammer, and then I right click the wall, and then I just hit repair, and it uses the plank much like building a house. And then I wouldn't have to continuously keep activating stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
These kind of small tweaks to Wurm would greatly help that natural feel that Retro was talking about.
Right.
And I feel like we all would be like every single time that we play this game, because these kind of small tweaks like that can only really be known by people that are actively playing at this time.
Right. Yeah, if anybody in our audience is not a Wurm player, they would have no idea what we're talking about.
And Retro, yes, that's exactly it. Just think about building a house. It would be the exact same sort of thing. That's sort of what's needed for many things. I believe that everybody that plays actively has these sort of gripes. And if there was a list of just these small things that people are like, oh yeah, like if only we could do this way, and to reduce like it doesn't make sense the way that it is, and then you fix all those problems, all of a sudden this game now feels this whole bunch more natural to play. Just like we don't even think about it, and that's what you want, right? You don't want to be thinking about it, because as soon as you're sitting there and you're thinking about something that should feel natural to do, then you've already lost a little bit. I'm going to finish my rant there. So that's pretty much it. All right, what am I doing here?
So, of the metal that I was able to, like, that was in the forge there, I first of all had to make a large anvil, because you can't make fence bars without a large anvil. And so, after that, I was able to make 2 fence bars.
That was it. What?
So I know you needed 6, so I logged onto my alt and sent me some more lumps. And now I'm waiting for them to come in the mail.
Wouldn't it have made more sense to just send us the fence bars?
Probably would have.
We probably have like 1,000 fence bars back at Factional in my village, but instead you took out some lumps. You're like, oh, I'll just send myself lumps.
And it's probably more expensive to send the lumps than it is to send the fence bars.
Oh man. What can you do? All right. Anyway. But yes, so the Retro saying there shouldn't be a thought of, okay, how do I do this? I think to elaborate on what you're thinking, what I think you're saying is, let's think of something as simple as mining. Okay? A player gets into the game, they already in their mind have a natural way that they feel like mining should work. Yeah, or digging. They already think this is how digging should work in their mind. And what we need to do is figure out what most or the average of people would be thinking in this instance. So when you're thinking, okay, I need to mine, I'm in a mine, here's a mine, it's telling me in the tutorial I need to mine. What do I do? And then that player should be able to do it. And one thing that I feel is probably the biggest gripe, and it was for me too, was the word activate. Every tutorial was like, activate the tool in your inventory and right click the wall. And we all know what that means now. But when you're a newbie, activation is not a natural way of thinking when you're playing a game. There's no activating. What players actually are thinking is, I need to place this tool in my hand because that makes sense. I want to take this tool and I want to pick it up from my bag.
Like when we first started, I kind of remember having Like when you first like were trying to get items, you put items like.
Are you
what was it?
remembering something that we?
Like you were trying to get items to go somewhere to like. Before we understood activate fully, but
Yeah, so this is what I did. This is literally what I did in the tutorial. I picked up the pickaxe, and I think a lot of people did this, and I placed it in my hand.
right, that's what you did.
Yeah, like now there's like a nice GUI and that we can do that with, but before our character was in our inventory. So, and I thought that you could still have it there.
Yeah, you can. You just have to. You need an option. You need to set it in the settings to have the old
Okay.
way
So
of doing it.
anyway, so I opened up. So let's just assume that we had this character thing, and I just essentially just took it and I placed it in my hand, which apparently I am no longer able to do. No, there it is.
It's in your
There it
settings,
is.
I think. Okay, you got it.
So let's assume that was my pickaxe because I'm too lazy to go through my inventory to find my real pickaxe. It's in my hand. Why am I not like using it? Yeah, there you go. There you go, Coburn. Back in the day, going through your body tree, putting on your because that's what I assumed that I needed to do. Now,
Right, the body tree. That's right.
to tell you the truth, I did not. I think I eventually figured it out. So it probably took a while. I eventually figured it out. I kind of remember going into the game. Actually, no. I feel like the first few times, I think the first few times I played, I never did figure it out, and I just stopped playing.
Right.
This was
the story of like almost
a year or two ago before I started really playing.
It was Aratharobe. Are you still with us, Aratharobo? You like when our story for starting the game was that Brian here had tried the game. He tried it out, spent like a little bit of time with it, and just was like, forget it. I can't do this anymore. And it must have been like 6 months later before he was like, I tried this game Wurm and maybe we could try it out again, but I didn't really have a great time with it. And I tried it and loved it. And so because of that, we started playing
We're
again.
here because of Adam. That's essentially what he's trying to get to. And I would say that is completely true.
Yeah. That there was something about the way the game was that didn't sit well with you. And
it was that's completely true. And so what happened was it wasn't until after the tutorial, I can't remember if you were with me, we decided to run one direction. Finally got through the tutorial. You were really excited. I wasn't as excited as you. And we just ran in one direction, and for what seemed like a very long time at the time.
It might have been 100 tiles away.
We went through lakes or rivers, and we got to the other side, and we're like, I don't remember what exactly we were trying to do. And we made it to a pig, and we were really hungry at this point. So we're like, let's just kill the pig and eat it. And so I remember it taking a very long time to kill this pig. Like extremely long time. At the time, there was no the items that you get these days. We never really had them. I think you did get a 10 quality sword or something, and maybe a shield.
Right.
I kind of remember killing it eventually. And
yeah, it was like 2-on-1.
Yeah, it was two of us. Finally killed and we were damaged and stuff. And we butchered it, and we took the meat and we put it we created a fire. And we put the meat in there, and we created the cooked meat, and we thought, this is great. Let's eat. So we ate, and looking at our food bar, and all I remember thinking was like, why is the fuka bar not going up? Like I'm eating, but and then like I ate
one quality pig meat.
Yeah, I ate all the food, and I didn't move that bar literally at all. It was like 10% or something. It was so tiny. I was just like, oh my god, like we're gonna have to kill something else. Like, how does this game work? And I was completely not sold on it at that point, and I can't remember. Eventually, we died, and like that was the night. We kept running, and then we died, and then.
But I loved it so much. Like I don't know. There was something about this game that drew me in like right away, and I think it was in the tutorial, the old tutorial where. One of the things that really stuck out in my mind was that if you were running uphill, you ran slower. There was no other game that I played that was like that. And if you ran on tar, you ran slower, and those sorts of things.
There was small portions of EverQuest that were like that, and we used to bring that up. In dungeons, there would be like specific areas of the floor that would be more slippery. Remember, in like Velks and stuff, or be make you go slower, stuff like that. But there wasn't really a game that incorporated it into its world that you could affect.
But it was never like so dynamic that like, you know, uphill was slower and downhill was faster, and tar was slower than pavement, and like that. Just that alone to me was just mind-blowing in a game. But you know, like I was coming from World of Warcraft or EverQuest 1, where all of that stuff was never even fathomable.
Wait, what am I doing? I'm creating wood shingles out of the planks. I don't know why I'm doing that. Wonderful. I so know how to play this game. All right, let's do what I need to do here.
We're making an animal crate.
Great. All right, let's put these in here. Already open, of course. I don't need these anymore. Anybody need 23 wood shingles? Anybody?
So Buddha is saying like some generic slot thing like Minecraft scroll.
Yeah. I wanted to get back to that topic.
Right, like everybody you're right that everybody understands that system, but in Wurm it's like there's so much more things to consider than just, let's say, use a hatchet and try to like swing it on something, right? Because if you use a hatchet on anything other than a tree, it pretty much doesn't really do anything. So
isn't that so wormy that I just made 23? Yeah, you're right. You're right, Joel. But okay, before I go crazy here, I wanted to actually go to the more top of this chat that I'm missing. Couple things. Okay, so Retro asked the question when we were talking about activating, would we want to change to the system that I was bringing up before, which was putting an item onto your hand or something? And the answer to that is no. Like, I would not want to have to equip that stuff in that way. I don't think Wurm could handle that change. I don't think the veteran players could handle something like that.
Wait, what change are you talking about?
Like, in order to use an item, to actually have to equip it. Now, technically, I think that the game could incorporate something like that could work.
Okay, so Buddha just said that, and this is something I want to actually set up for myself right now, and that is, he said that scrolling the mouse wheel up and down, you can bind that to switching the tool belt, like down and up. So you can like now set it so that the mouse wheel changes the tool belt slot that you're activating.
Does
If I'm
that,
interpreting it correctly.
if you can do that, does that then change
How do I-
the way that the mouse wheel places objects?
The mouse wheel. Oh, you mean like how the mouse wheel like rotates objects? I think I just lost my. I think I just lost my sound, so I'm gonna have to switch my earphones.
We can hear him, but his little earbuds are definitely not made for this. Okay, so I'm not sure what he was going to say, but place overrides it. So we definitely need to learn how to do that. I will go through the now that is actually really cool. However, I wouldn't use the I don't think I would use that, because I make it so all of my tool belt slots are bound to 1 through 9 or 10 or whatever it is. That's essentially what I do.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm like way too used to that.
But
Now, okay, when I think of spinning the mouse wheel, I think of like what every other game seems to think of, which is like that spinning a dial. So all of a sudden the tool belt or whatever the option is would need to be represented in Wurm in that dial like motion in order for me to feel like it's natural to do that. Or the tool belt would have to be vertical. Something like that. Like I'm going up and down, right, as I'm scrolling, so I'm not going left and right.
yeah, but most people come from like games
Which
like
you can. You
Minecraft
can make the tool
where,
belt
like-
vertical, by the way,
Oh, can you?
which is really cool.
That is.
And
kinda
I'm
cool.
not sure when they implemented that.
Okay.
I don't know where to put it
Uh,
on my screen.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
This is what happens when we don't play around with stuff that we've been
I bet
playing with
most
for years.
veteran Worm players probably don't know that you can make the tool belt
No,
vertical.
every veteran now Wurm player is going to come to us and say, "How did you not know that you could?"
I just figured that. Yeah, we just figured that out.
Okay, so now that it's like that, I'm wondering if I feel like there's still something missing, like something needs to maybe appear on the screen when I switch it. Maybe on the mouse cursor or just somewhere every time that I change it. Yeah, so
I'm
mouse
trying to-
wheel has been used to switch weapons in FPSs for a very long time. That's completely true.
Right, but let's say I switch my mouse wheel so that it
we were
changes
just-
the tool belt. Does that remove the mouse wheel from changing the place item?
This is freaking me out. I'm going to switch it back.
The Buddha saying, I'm pretty sure the option was there since the day one of the tool belt.
Then we're just... That's lovely. That's lovely to know.
I'm pretty sure the tool belt was there when we started playing the game.
How long did it take us to get a tool belt? That was more than 2 slots.
But nonetheless, it could have been set vertical.
Guess so.
I'm trying to figure out. So then, what is that? What is the keybind to make it so that it switches through the tool belt? I'm trying to figure out tool belt activate.
You're gonna have to tell me.
Okay, there's. Oh, I see it. Next underscore tool belt. And the mouse scroll command is scroll up asterisk.
All right, I'm about to finish this as Adam
Okay, hold on. I'm
learns
trying to
how
figure
to do
this
the
out.
scroll wheel thing.
Scroll up,
Oh, wait,
asterisk.
let's get rid of these. Another thing are these windows. I don't know. I feel like I wish that we could cut down on the windows or make it so they take up less space. Although we still like the list of items. I still like the fact that I can have a list of all of my items and they're not giant icons. There we go. I built you a cage. Can we place a horse in there? Let's see what it looks like. Go here. Load creature. Creature cage unlock. But it's currently empty. What happens if I click that? It is now gone. So maybe I had to unlock it. Do you actually have to take the gear off first? Oh, I don't want to take the gear off. Okay, I'm going to do it just because I really want to see this horse in there.
All right. I will be back one more time.
All right, pie belly, aged pie belly, going in here. You're not going in there. The creature's too far away. Okay, let's hello, creature. That's why, isn't it? It becomes part of the item, and therefore it becomes a brown horse. The generic brown, eh? What does putting the horse in the cage, I wonder if that pauses its aging cycle. And if it naturally gives the horse food and water. Oh, I guess food. Because if this pauses the aging, or whatever we put in there, pauses its aging, then I can actually have these creature cages in the labyrinth and have an animal inside of it without worrying that it's going to die, and have it as more of a, makes it look like a live labyrinth.
Wait, it never dies?
No, I don't. I'm just theorizing here.
Oh, okay. If it dies.
I have no idea. Oh no, the cage is damaged quite fast. So basically, the cage would break, and then my horse would just be free, and be standing here. While I have people in there, I don't really have one here. Okay, 35. Can I? Can I improve the cage while there's something in there? Yes, I can.
So here's the question.
The creature cage. Yep.
So it says on the keybind in the wiki, scroll up and scroll down, have an asterisk next to it, and then it says with the asterisk only available in the preview client. So if I'm on the stable client, does that mean the scroll up and scroll down are not, like, I can't use them as keybinds?
That's a good question.
Is that why I can't get this to work? Because it doesn't seem to be working for me.
Wow, it literally consumed my entire log. Let me try another log here.
What did?
Imping this. Okay, the log's only 2 weight, but.
Okay. But But still, it took 2 weight in one shot.
I think it did.
Huh.
That one didn't. So the other one must have been really, really, really small.
Okay, well, that log that you're holding right now only has.
And you can't repair it unless you
I
remove the animal. Okay, so pretty much don't try to imp it with an animal inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're really only meant for transportation. It makes sense. I was just thinking of other...
The cages damage quite fast when full. Okay.
How do I get rid of it? I can
You
see
mean
my...
how do you get your horse out?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do I get my
How do
horse
I
out?
get my horse out.
If you right click.
Open, move,
and-
repair, rename. Permissions. Permissions?
Wait, what if you click on the horse? Wait, is open? Open?
I didn't put a lock on it.
If you open it and then unload the creature. So if you right click and open, it brings up a window. And then you right click the aged
Ah, you need a
unload
rope.
creature.
That's what I was
Oh, you
missing.
need a rope. Okay.
And I didn't realize it put a small padlock in my inventory.
Okay.
There you go. In saying that, can I pick it up? Nope, but I can move it. So let's,
Oh, and the horse was brown.
yes. I guess they couldn't, you were not
that
allowed
just-
to place that. Okay, can I push it? Yes, I can push it. And now I don't really want to move it very far, so I guess I'll just push it to the corner. But
But you can place it, no?
no, item cannot be placed.
Oh, okay.
Kinda. What do I think about that?
This little building is gonna be like a little work area for us. This has been our work area.
This has been our work area for like years, it seems now.
Mm-hmm. This building has been our workstation
I don't
for.
really have a lot to work with
Building
here,
Labyrinth.
but wait, I can place this. What am I doing?
Cleaning out this little area was like an insane job. We got
Yeah.
it so like empty, and then we started filling it back up with stuff. Like this animal cage.
Guess I don't need these. Why do I have 4 pointing signs and a shop sign in my inventory?
You know why.
Eh. Yeah, I know why. Alright, let's get all this stuff back on this horse. You think I would have repaired all this stuff when I took it off? I did not. Alright, so yeah, I think we just have to accept that Wurm does need some kind of new UI, UX, whatever you want to call it, some kind of new way to interact with it. But I would argue that, and I think Buddha even kind of referenced it in one of his comments, with the new UI would require that there would be a new tutorial. And I would hope that it would forcibly be more interactive.
My
Optionally be able to bypass it.
My favorite tutorial was the one where it forced you to chop down trees and cut out like wood scraps and make a fire and that was my favorite tutorial.
But here's the issue with all those tutorials, even that one. It felt like you were on an obstacle course.
Right, but once you left the obstacle course, it was like whoosh, now you're like off on your own. And that's what a tutorial should feel like, right? Like the tutorial should feel like it's guiding you and leading you and teaching you and then lets you go, you know?
Listen, if one of the first things that you mention to someone, so you're going to describe this game to someone that you want to play it so badly, and if one of those things that you would tell them is that Wurm is a big, open, vast world where you feel like you're just, a part of its evolution and you can do anything with relatively, and then you get plopped down for like an hour into a treadmill, how many of those players are going to make it to the point where they actually get to this open and adventure world?
I don't think the tutorial should take an hour to get through.
But it did. That's just what it was.
It did.
It took a while.
Did it take an hour?
I think it took more than one gameplay session. Yeah.
Right.
So we can say something like this.
It might have taken 15, 20 minutes.
Like, if they can't handle the tutorial, they can't handle the game. But I would also argue that the tutorial was not a great representation of what the game is about. And that it could be done in a new way. And if they are going to have to redo the tutorial anyway, then why not make it like a mini example of what the game is all about?
I know what you're thinking. I know the idea of the tutorial that you're thinking, and that idea is it would be a whole play session still. Yes?
Yes. But optionally being able to bypass it. Like, you have to have that open world feel.
But the only person who's going to bypass it is the one who's already played the game.
Correct.
And if somebody
that's what you
buys
hope.
the game brand new and tries to figure out the game, they're going to want to do the tutorial.
But remember, the tutorial's not to try to get you through it. The tutorial is to lure the player into the game. So by the end of the tutorial, the player should be thinking, wow, like, this game is amazing, or this game has everything that I want it to have, and it's got all these features, I can't wait to get into it. And they shouldn't be thinking, wow, I now know how to do stuff. I now know the mechanics of things.
True. But for me, and maybe I'm just a
you loved that.
For me, it was literally, and I'm not even joking, that it was the mechanic of you walk slower when you went uphill and faster when you went downhill. That was it for me. That was enough, and I knew that this game was the game for me.
The tutorial could have that, but how about if the tutorial in what some of it was thinking was maybe there's a clay or something, and they said, oh, we need some to build something. Like, do you remember my whole tutorial idea? I don't want to really rehash it here, right?
Do remember your whole tutorial idea.
Okay, yeah. For people that don't know, I'm trying to figure out a way to tell it in like a short
Here, I can tell it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's like you spawn in and someone's saying like, we need shafts in order to make fences, to protect your village from wolves, and so you have to go out and gather shafts, or like chopping down trees and cutting them into shafts and
Yeah.
bringing them back. And
There'd
then
be
they
like
say, okay,
lots
now
of things to
build some
do.
fences, and you have to build a couple like tiles of fences, and then,
Knowing this, okay, so it wouldn't be as straightforward as that. It would be like a place that needs a lot of work. Okay.
okay,
Just a lot of work. Like, and so as players spawn in, you you understand, like you get a little like introduction to where you are, and what's happening, and maybe people, there might be wolves or something that continuously comes and damages like the house or the fences. Okay, so let's just, there's some mechanic that's doing this, that keeps decaying their place, so that you have to help rebuild it, and you've got maybe some checkbox to try to get you through the tutorial, and like a little explanation, maybe an NPC that's needing your help. And so in order to do these things, so let's say they want you to fix something, but they want it to be made out of oak. However, the only known oak sources in their area is over to the northeast, up a little bit of a hill.
Here's the problem that I have with this whole idea, is that once they get into the real game, it's nothing like that. There's no wolf threat, and there's no, like, you know what I mean?
So then don't make it a wolf threat. Make it
okay.
that they just need help, and like as they're going through all of this stuff, they're more naturally learning about the game.
I agree with them more naturally learning about the game.
It couldn't even be a scenario. It could be that they start off their adventure. Although I do like the idea that it is more of a scenario, because normally when you join the game, what do people say? Don't go off on your own. Join a village.
Okay.
Learn about the game a little bit. Right? This is what people say.
Sure.
So the first thing you should do in the game is not try to do everything. Right? Because we should be teaching the players help others. And what better way of doing that than to have like a small little village that they can help out in. And it could be more than one house, like a village area that's rotting away or decaying away, and they need to help, piece it all back together in whatever way that they would like to. And then why can't wolves or whatever be part of the journey? Why not have mobs just in this area that are weaker than normal to not scare players away? Right? This would not be on this would be like its own separate area, just the way the tutorial is now. Yeah, these missions don't exist. So let's not call them missions. Let's and this would be the same with the way the tutorial is now. Like after you leave the tutorial, we don't get those pop-ups that are happening during the current tutorial. It's just kind of the way it is. We need to make it seem more like Wurm in general, I think. What are the things in Wurm that we would be doing? And then how can we get new players to understand the concepts and the gameplay mechanics without them realizing that's what they're doing? Right? So now, instead of them thinking, oh, I need to understand this concept, it's more, I need to go over there and, because that's the only source of clay that I was told is available, and I need to dig because I need to accomplish this, because the town is needing something.
So you're thinking that if they had more of those things built into the actual game, it'd be better?
Into the tutorial.
In the tutorial, but see, once you get into the game, then there's none of that. You know what I
No,
mean?
there's none of that because the players engage in that themselves.
Right. The
Right?
players engage in that themselves.
We need to
You know,
simulate that for
but-
new players.
On the completely side note, if they had these mechanics in the actual game, well, I mean, maybe it would be a totally different game, I guess. But if the actual game required you to like contribute to some global event, let's say, for example, trolls are attacking in the city
That's
of such
another
and such,
conversation.
certain amount of like bricks or whatever.
That's another conversation entirely. And I think like we should have something like this. How about if a villages, the mayor of a village or higher level citizens of a village can set up their own custom goals for villagers.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. So our village
sure.
wants to like recruit or create collect 100,000 bricks to create our castle.
Sure, whatever the goal would be. We need
And other
this, we
people
need
can
these fences
contribute to
made,
the
we need
bricks.
that or whatever. And then
Okay.
you could set these goals for the user. Sure. But
Okay, back
That
to Wurm
shouldn't-
now.
that shouldn't be what that can't be what a tutorial is. Right? All we can do is simulate what that experience would be like. And I think
Right.
if we can get closer to that simulation, that players would have a better understanding, or new players would have a better understanding of what the game is all about. It's not a perfect one-to-one, but maybe it'll make them want to join villages more than they do now.
Maybe.
Like the first thing we did when we came out, we wanted to go out on our own,
Right. that was the
adventure
first-
out.
That's
We
true.
didn't end up doing that, actually. We ended up digging that hole for that gentleman next to that. I don't even remember where we were or what his name
True.
was.
Actually, the first thing we wanted to do was raise enough money to plant our own deed, which was actually a good goal that every Wormian should probably have at first.
Yes. And we can go on and on about features that we would love to see, village goals, village levels, and guild
Or wait,
levels.
haven't we already gone
We've
on and on?
we've gone on about this stuff. Yeah, we can talk about this stuff. Yeah, but items that are only available in villages, essentially a progression of villages after you plant a deed and build your house. But in saying that, you have to lure these players in first. There's enough for us to do. I mean, look at our Labyrinth. There's enough for us to do without needing all that stuff. Although that stuff would greatly help in after you lure the players in, how do you keep them around? That's that
I don't know.
stage.
I think that we've been kept around pretty easily.
But we know we've seen enough. We've been around enough to see the cycle of when the players leave. We've seen so many of them.
But what
that
is it
it's a
about?
pattern.
Like, what's different? Like,
Why are we on
we
this
look at
subject
it-
anyway? I don't.
this is the this. Why are we? Aren't we always on this subject?
I don't know.
What is it like about us that this is the game that we will always come back to? We will always go and try other games and see the new whatever's, but then we'll always come back to this game. This is like our home. Why is it our home and not like why doesn't everybody else see it that same way? You know?
My voice is already going. How long have we been on? the stream needs to run 24/7. So
Sure.
I was just saying that I took a week course, and during that week So Monday to Friday, it was 12 hours days. So it was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Had to sit at my computer, and I was in a virtual classroom taking a course. And the teacher, for almost the entire 12 hours, like we had a 10-minute break every 90 minutes, and then about an hour lunch, let's say sometime during the day, like 1 o'clock. So all the other time, the teacher would she continuously had flows of words coming out of her mouth. It was insane. She was like really good at just continuously talking. And like day 1 finished, and day 2 and day 3. And it's like her voice was never ending. I just thought at some point her voice is going to give out because of how much she's talking. Like I can't talk for 2 hours or 3 hours straight without my voice just sort of like clunking down.
Well, that's because you're not a teacher.
Yeah, you talk all day.
I pretty much talk all day.
So you're used to it. Did your voice ever like die out at first, and you had to do you have to train your voice to talk this long? Do we need to run 24/7 just to have our voices come back? So
our school year starts every September, and every September my voice goes like. So I don't know if you guys don't know, I'm a teacher. So every September, school year starts, and every September my voice gets lost because I'm talking constantly. But then, after that month is gone, then your voice is just stronger, and you could talk forever.
And then the summer comes, and then you
pretty much
you get used to not talking.
Yep. Oh. Which is why I have to do this show.
That's why we should have done this show earlier if we just had time and prepared. I don't know. I think we're more prepared now with the Streamlabs. A couple things that we want to do. So people that have joined maybe after the first for 30 minutes, okay. We basically doing this like it's not even our real show or a regular scheduled program of any kind. We're setting this up so I can learn this new program. It's essentially OBS if people are used know the streaming programs, but it's the Streamlabs version, which seems to be like the really popular one these days. I see everybody seemingly use the widgets from it. And our goal today wasn't to like showcase Wurm or talk about Wurm really, but it was to set up the program and all the different scenes so that we would be ready for next week, essentially.
Right.
So in saying that, how is everybody in the chat, have our volumes stayed consistent? Was the first question relative to each other.
I've turned myself up a couple times since people were saying that I'm quieter.
Yeah. The second thing is, how has the stream been? I can't tell, and you would even be able to tell a little better than me, Adam.
All right.
Is there any buffering? How's the quality?
There was one time where it buffered, but I couldn't tell whether that was us or. But since then it's been fine. I almost feel like the chat is. It's kind of weird how all of the names are sort of like separate from the text. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like.
Yeah, I understand. I didn't find any ways to change that. Maybe there's a widget that changes that. Okay, let me double check in these settings here. Chat box. So I have the ability to change the theme.
Okay.
I can make it a box.
It's good to hear that the stream has been smooth. That's good.
I can make it look like Twitch chat. The only one that seems to do what you want it to do. I mean, it looks like there's some advanced
all I wanted to
HTML
do is to make
customization.
I just want to make it look like the chat that's on the browser where Anyway, it looks fine to me. Like the chat is fine.
All right,
I'm not.
I've changed it, and of course it hasn't updated. Let me see. Did I save it?
And so the other thing that we wanted to do, aside from setting up our stream and making sure that everything was running smoothly, was to announce that next week we will be streaming again on Saturday. So 1 week from today. And on that day, I think, the Labyrinth will officially open. And we are hoping to invite as many people as possible to come and just experience the Labyrinth and have fun and try to beat the Labyrinth. Which we think we've created a fun event that is just, people would enjoy coming, and we've arranged and worked with Retro and gotten this place up and running, and if you beat the Labyrinth, you will walk away with a unique one and only prize that you can only get from beating the Labyrinth. And I hope that's okay that we announce that. But yeah, so 1 week from today, come on over. We are right near Linton. You can find the Puzzle Labyrinth by just typing it into the highway system that's on Xanadu. And
just don't tell anybody that
just
we
don't tell
told
anybody.
you
Right,
about this.
Exactly.
It wasn't us.
Yeah.
In saying that, how's the chat look now? I changed its style.
Oh.
It's in a box, and I don't really know how to get rid of that. But what it does do is puts the people's names. Why are everybody's names the same color now? Puts the the names of the people on top of their comment.
Huh. That is an interesting format.
I feel like you said that with a little bit of disgust in your voice. So I'm going to...
Yeah, I liked it. If if there was like a combination between this one and the other one, it would be okay. What I don't like about this one is that everybody's name is the same color, and
like in the they show you a little graphic of how it's supposed to look. Everybody's name is different color in that graphic.
But also there's a little box on each chat that kind of covers up.
Yes, I don't know how to get rid of that.
That's what I don't like about that one.
I think this one has that box defaulted on with no setting for it.
Like if that box was transparent, it
might be a bit better. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get that.
I still might prefer the other one better, actually.
All right.
Because the names are almost unreadable because they're so small. Although that might be just because I'm not on full screen.
There's another one that does a little bit of a different animation, but is similar to the first one.
So, teleporter to the Labyrinth from the starter maze. I don't think so. Like, I know what you mean. Like, for spellcasts Labyrinth, you can go to any starter town and get teleported there. I don't think that's the case for this.
Yeah, and there is a reason for that, which I don't think. No, wait, did we already announce it? And it's essentially because this is not a timed event, as far as I know.
Okay. I don't think Spellcast Maze is a timed event either. I think you can.
Can you still go there?
Yeah, I think so. There was a timed event part of it, in that I think that for a certain amount of time you could get a specific prize for beating it, and then that prize was gone. I could be wrong. I definitely, long after the Spellcast maze came out, I went and tried it. And I got like, I think I found a couple of the small little prizes, like the tin shovel or the whatever it was, like the random non-valuable prizes or whatever that subsequently got devalued because you can now make tin shovels. Nonetheless, I'm not sure if you can even can you still get teleported to Spellcast's maze? I'm not even sure.
I don't know. Anybody know if that maze is still around?
I know the maze is still around, but I don't know if you can go to any starter town and get teleported to it still. But our maze is near Linton, so if you're able to get to Xanadu, it's on the main highway system. I can see it being an issue getting there if you're like, let's say, on Pristine or something. But nonetheless.
All right,
Not
there's
too
a
far
way.
from one of the starting towns.
There's a way to edit the chat window using HTML and CSS. I guess I shouldn't be doing this.
There's no like random default different settings.
I could download. I mean, I can download people that have already created their own, I don't know, chat widget or theme.
Sorry, it's not near Linton. It's near Vrox. You're right. It's near Vrox.
I'm just gonna put it back for now. I'll play around with this later. But yeah, it's right next to Vrox, about 190 tiles away. You can run here and it would be. I'm gonna save the settings here.
See, I said Linton because our other deed is near Linton, and
yeah,
just today I rode from Linton over to here, and it took about 10-15 minutes.
All right, so did the buffering go away after I stopped playing with the settings?
Well, now that chat is gone completely from the stream.
Yeah, I had to reset it.
Okay.
But okay, so I'm just keeping it as the default for now. I'll play around with the chat a bit more. I think I know more of what you want it to be. I'll see.
If you check into my horses, I brought you food, by the way.
Oh,
I noticed your...
Yes. So what did you say? In my...
The horse saddle sacks?
Oh, in your horse saddle sack?
Yeah, from Vrock to Linton.
Nice.
And from Linton to Vrock, the highway system is well established. It's very easy to get to from one to the other.
Apparently I have to take it out to eat it.
Is it not? Ah, there you go. You're not able to eat that?
Yeah, I'm eating it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the highway system I guess recently, like a few within the last half a year, I guess, has been redone so that from Vrox to Linton is just super smooth.
Yeah, I just did that this week. There is some mountains that you have to climb, but
it's all on the highway.
It's all on the highway, and it is very smooth. I haven't been to Linton recently. How is that going? How is our little starter town looking?
From what I understand, Linton is like nobody. There's nobody around that area. Nobody settled near it.
That makes me really happy that you said.
But I think that it's still like I have a merchant at the market that somebody made a market nearby Linton, and I put a merchant there so I can sort of test the waters of who's there, and it sold some items, so there's people around there. But from what I've heard from people talking to me, that the Linton area is pretty non-populated. We live just north and east of Linton, and that area that we're in is very active. There's a nice alliance there, our alliance, which is called the Aged Fat Alliance. That alliance is doing pretty well. It's always like you can even see it on your screen. Like there's like a good number of people in there, even though it's pretty late right now.
Yeah.
And there's some times where I'll log in and there's like, 12 or 13 people in there. It's up and down. It depends on the time of day.
Well, just one last time.
Okay.
I think I'm going to mention this.
Sure.
About the Labyrinth. So we've been working on it for a long time, about 3 years. This is the summary. The goal is to obviously, let's see if there is a goal here. No, these are just warnings. Yeah, welcome Puzzle Labyrinth. Please do not bring any valuable possessions, as it will attract the Puzzle King to you.
Is that what you put there?
The Labyrinth is a dangerous place, so make sure that you have plenty of water and cotton bandages. All right, so I did not put... What's going on here? Okay, so there's a bunch of story stuff. Okay, so here we go. So essentially, got a place nearby for tents. That sounds like something I need to do, doesn't it? Well, they don't want to just go into the random forest over there and just of fir trees and just plop a tent down. Yeah, maybe I'll have to clear up an area, maybe. Yeah. All right, so here's the goal. For people that haven't watched us in the last 3 years, the goal is based off of the movie called Labyrinth.
The Labyrinth. Yep.
And so essentially we split it up into 3 sections. We have the Labyrinth section. And beyond the Labyrinth section, we have the Village section, which you saw us stand in most of this stream.
It's the Goblin City.
Yeah, it's the Goblin City, but it is called Puzzle City because this is Puzzle Labyrinth. And then beyond Puzzle City, there's the castle. And each section has its own set of puzzles to solve. Each section has a small story that you follow. And approximately, like, the goal obviously is to make it to the castle to save your brother, which the Puzzle King has taken. So I don't know if this is true, but I feel like each section progressively gets a bit harder. Do you think that's true?
I think that's true. Based on, like, as I said earlier, my son, who's 7 years old, we let him go through the front part, and he made it through the maze part up to the city, and then after that, I set him up again, like, because he took a break. Like, he's only 7, so he was done after the first part.
Yeah.
So a couple days later, I set him up for this Puzzle City part and said,
Well, you did that, and I wasn't even here.
You weren't here. Yeah, you didn't see that part. And
Oh wow, what happened?
he got a little bit, like he did the first little bit. He got through the first puzzle area, but then
Okay.
he started saying like, "This is just too hard." Like he couldn't do it anymore. So it did get a little bit harder for him, and he wanted more hints and things. And I think what he's waiting for is the walkthrough, the video that tells him exactly how to get through it, because he'll easily follow a walkthrough.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, he was zooming through the first part, and I think the reason why it would be easy for him is because so the first part's designed in a way that makes it easy to get to places. So it's like a maze, right? It's easy for you to make it around the maze, hard to solve the maze.
Right.
So there's nothing stopping you really from saying, if I want to go over that area, go over to that area. Once you make it to the city, it's more of a puzzle than it is a maze. So you have to like really read the clues. You have to really understand the signs. Yeah.
Reading the clues, reading the signs is key.
And then understanding the way that the game works.
Meanwhile wants to know what's the first day of the Labyrinth. And I'm not exactly sure what the first day of the Labyrinth is, but on next Saturday we are going to be streaming, and what we would like is to invite a bunch of people to start the Labyrinth event when we start the stream, so that we can have a stream where we're watching people go through the Labyrinth. What day it officially opens, I'm not 100% sure. Do you know, Brian?
I'm sure we'll know more at the end of this week.
Yeah, it will be announced at some point this week, the exact time and date that it will be available to be going through. But we would like on next Saturday, around the same time that we started this stream, around 7 p.m. EST, we would like to invite a bunch of people to join up and start the Labyrinth adventure, and we will have a stream going where we watch people go through the Labyrinth and have lots of fun with that.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. I think that's a good place that we can end. I still need to set up one more scene. I've been reluctant to do that. I'm not sure what exactly happens when I switch to a brand new scene with nothing in it. I don't know what people will start seeing. But I mean, I can do that after, and I'll keep the stream running if people want to just watch me tinker with our goodbye scene.
Okay.
But I would say thanks so much for everyone joining us for our first stream back officially. And I just saw the ticker. We were on for 3 hours and 15 minutes, according to this.
If you've watched us, I've always been the type of person to love the long like videos, the long streams. And you, when we first started, you wanted all of our videos to be within a half hour. Make the video a half hour long and people will watch it. If it's any longer than that, nobody will watch it for longer than a half hour.
I still like our short little episodes.
But over time, like we have been getting longer and longer, and I think that 3 hours is a good length.
3 hours is a good length. You heard that. Adam just said that. It came out of his mouth. So I mean, we're gonna have to like adhere to this 3 hour window every week, or however long we record.
There was somebody else who was saying that they like their like sweet zone is 4 to 5 hours, and then they'll do 2 of those a day. I'm like, what? Wow.
I don't think I don't think my voice could last. I don't know. Maybe if we were playing and just silent for a while.
Yeah.
I
To be
know
honest, I
that
think
if I was watching myself playing silently, I would turn myself off.
there are quite a few people out there who stream for a few hours, silent the most of the time.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just we're
Yeah,
basically talking about nothing.
yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming to our Twitch channel, which hasn't been active in a number of years, and watching us blab around and catching up a little bit. So we'll do it again soon. Next week, Labyrinth. There will be an announcement on the forums. Look out on the forums sometime later this week. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So now you'll watch me put up a new scene of saying goodbye.
You dress up as a minotaur for the next
if I have time to buy a giant minotaur helmet, maybe I will. I haven't thought about that. No, maybe I'll do something. I'll figure something out. I'm sure I have something lying around. All right, here we go. I'm not sure what's going to happen to our volumes, so if our volumes go out, then have a good night, everyone. Yeah, I think, okay, there we go. So now you can hear us fumbling around. Here we go. I need to add a new image. All right. There's our thank you image. Let's add.
And my assumption is people can still hear us.
Let's add this.
I might go over and watch Kimmy and Pink. Kimmy and Pink is streaming some Wurm Online.
Let's raid. How do you raid there? Another.
Right. That's what we should do. We should raid that. We should raid Kimmy and Pink. How do we do that?
I do want to test this out. Testing.
Can other people hear us? Can you guys hear us?
How come? Oh, there it is. Ah, okay. So that worked. Yeah, I turned on our microphones.
Yeah, let's go raid Kimmy and Pink.
More testing. And you wanted me to erase the delay. I'll see if that's possible.
If you could.
It might be possible up to a point. I think one issue would be buffering. Not being able to buffer those seconds. How to raid another Twitch channel. Apparently you do slash, or you do slash raid and then the name of the channel. Are either of us signed into the... Wait, can I do it from here? No, wait, I'm not signed in there. Let's log in. In saying that, I kind of want to add... That's good. Perfect. Okay, so how do you spell the name? Okay, so for anyone that doesn't want to raid with us, to what's her name's channel?
Kimmy in Pink.
Kimmy in Pink.
Kimmie.
And you might want to leave now. Here we go. Kimmy in Pink.
Yeah.
IEINPINK.
Yeah.
It's doing something. Is it doing something for you?
I already switched, so I jumped off.
Adam's already left.
Board.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. If you're still listening, I'm officially turning off the stream. See you guys later.